be here. We also, if you're here for the TCG, that will also be coming up right after the round 1 for Duel Links. We will be transitioning to the TCG to see their round 1 feature match as well. So stay with us for sure for that. I'm a TCG player. Mike is also a TCG player, and we both transitioned completely to Duel Links. It's just like Yu-Gi-Oh! It's a little simpler than like the game you might know. It only has 3 main monster zones, 3 spell and trap card zones, and only main phase 1 and a battle phase. So no main phase 2. So unlike the TCG, if you want to like set up for your trap cards and set them for your opponent's turn, you have to make sure you do that all before your attacks. So it's a little different, and even though it is simpler, it adds like another like dynamic play style like to your game to think ahead in advance.
Right. The duelist skills as well can be game changing. So those have a big impact as well. For this tournament, each player needed to use 5 decks piloted by different legendary duelists, so it's 5 different characters, and each character needs to have a separate skill.
Mas
so
ninguém
everyone's
falou
playing 5
first,
different decks with 5 different skills and 5 different characters. So that made that had an interesting effect on which decks each player is using.
Yeah, dual skills are really important in dueling. So yeah, you normally build your deck with your good cards, but each character has a special dual skill that influences the deck you play. Like, for example, Beatdown might be the simplest dual skill to demonstrate. So once per turn, you can just activate your dual skill, like a bonus effect because of the character you play. Beatdown for each level 5 or higher monster you have on the field, all your monsters' attacks will increase by 300. So I really like that dual skills add something interesting to the game.
Yeah.
How many dual skills do you get per character?
Oh, a ton, yeah. Each character has a ton of
Achei,
dual skills,
mas eu acho que é uma aposta
they had a list
muito alta. Eu não acho que eles vão ser
special
tudo
decks
isso
and
que tá
everything.
falando, não.
Each character has a
Eles
bunch
são
of different dual skills,
muito
and you can pick which one
situacionais,
works the
mano.
best with the deck you're
Deck
trying to play.
situacional
For the standard
assim,
decks, any skill is
contra
fair
deck
But it looks
consistente
like
não
we are
consegue
about to
tancar,
jump
não,
into
mano.
round 1. And round 1 of Duel Links is Josh Cooper from America against Young Jun Lee, deckmaker from Korea. Young Jun Lee is actually my
vai na
pick,
primeira de Duel Links.
so I'm very excited to get to see him round 1. His decks are very impressive, but it looks like we have Joey Wheeler versus
Começou pelo Duel
Odeon.
Links.
Now, Joey Wheeler, we're going to be looking at Last Gamble. His dual skill Last Gamble says after turn 5, you can pay your life points all the way down to 100, discard 2 cards from your hand, roll a die, just like Joey likes to do, and draw as many cards from.
Não, mas é a melhor
number you roll.
combinação
So,
deles na
looks like
moral é
Odeon
com BA,
is gonna
com
start
Dark
with
World é muito
Amazon's
situacional.
Princess on Young
Se com
Jun-
Dark World
Young
fosse tão
Jun
bom
Lee's
assim, tava topando todo o campeonato,
the reason
não
he's using
tava
Odeon is
uma
because he has a,
paginazinha
dual
falando
skill called
meia
Endless Trap
coisa
Card.
e
And
falando, ó,
it uses a lot
topou
of
num
trap
regional
cards.
aqui, tá ligado?
And he's
Porque
able
lançou
to add
faz
back trap
2
cards from his
semanas
grave
e
to
não
his
tem
hand
aquele
if he
alarde
has
que nem
3 or
Sky
more.
Striker
It looks like we have a direct
teve,
attack
ou qualquer outro
Amazon's
deck
Princess.
poderoso, entendeu?
When Amazon's Princess
Pode
attacks,
ser que
she's
vá
able to
ficar
send a
forte
card
no
you control
futuro,
to the graveyard
sem
and
sombra
special
de
summon any
dúvidas,
Amazon's monster from your deck
mas
to the field.
não é tudo
So
isso
you're
que
going to
eles
think
falam.
Amazon's Baby Tiger is a really good one to summon early because anytime it's in the graveyard or in your hand and an Amazon's monster is summoned, you can special summon it back from the graveyard. And being able to use cards like Amazon's Onslaught, where any Amazon's monster that battles with another monster will be able to banish it. You just have a continuous way to remove monsters from the field. And you can see he discarded Paleozoic Canadia, so he'll be able to activate a trap card and special summon that Paleozoic Canadia back from his graveyard. So we see a lot of synergy coming from the Amazoness player.
Right. The Amazonesses are a rather slow deck, though, and Cooper's strategy is really to survive to turn 5 so that he can use his dual skill.
Right. So, we see someone from Witch Raider right here.
Oh, that can be devastating.
Yeah, Vision Hero Witch Raider is a 2-tree monster that you can
Sim,
trap
mas não é
cards to
porque o
summon.
preço da
But when it
carta
is
tá em
summoned,
alta
it
que o deck é
destroys
bom,
all
tá
the spell and
ligado?
trap
É
cards
que
your
nem eu
opponent
falei,
controls.
os
So we
caras
see
hypou
3
tanto esse
cards being
Danger
destroyed, but
que agora as
Chain
cartas
Treacherous
estão em alta
Trapple.
justamente
Treacherous
por
Trapple,
isso,
one of the
porque eles
best
são
trap
os
cards
únicos
in
bichos
Yu-Gi-Oh!
que
Duel
pagam a
Links.
caixa.
As
A
long
hora
as
que
you
o
don't have any
povo
trap cards in your
notar que o
graveyard,
deck
you're
não
able
é
to destroy
tudo
2 monsters on the
isso,
field,
e se o deck
just like
não
that.
vingar, mano,
And it looks like the
essa
Treacherous Trapple might
Cybernetic
have helped him out.
Horizon
You're
vai
getting
ser
rid of that Witch
foi uma
Raider
das
and
piores
the
box
Amazoness Princess on the
lançadas,
field.
tá ligado?
Cooper
Uma das
discards
piores
Thunder
box.
Seahorse,
A
allowing
única
him to
carta
add
que
2
vale
level 4
literalmente a pena
Thunder
dela
monsters
é
from
o
his
Borrel
deck to
Sword.
his
O
hand with
Borrel
the same
Sword é um
name.
ótimo
And
link.
we're going to see
Sem sombra
Batteryman
de
Solar.
dúvida.
Batteryman
O
Solar
cara tá de
kind of new in the
bateria, mano.
TCG, also in here in Duel Links, and very powerful. Very powerful card,
Cara
because
tá
it's
de
able to send a
battery
Batteryman from your deck to the graveyard, and once you have 2 Batterymen in your graveyard, they're able to banish them to summon Super Industrial Strength, which is able to destroy a monster and
Achei
a
que
spell
os
and
caras
trap
iam
card
tudo
on
de
the field.
Furhide, mano.
Cooper's deck is all about getting
foda,
Batterymen
não.
into the graveyard so that he can summon it and defeat his
Os
opponent
caras do
at
Duel
once.
Links iam ir tudo de
He's also
Furhide.
using cards like
Estou até
Snipe Hunter and
surpreso.
Enemy Controller to quickly ship the duel.
Along with his dual skill that lets you
Yes.
discard those 2 cards,
So-
and then you'll hopefully roll a 5 or 6, draw into those industrial strengths, and be able to summon multiple and finish off his opponent maybe in 1 turn.
Right, the goal is to use Last Gamble and win on that last turn.
So see, we got an attack here from Batterman Solar. Looks like there's no Amazoness Willpower face down over here for Deckmaker.
Ah, mas eBay, os caras é retardado. Se eu quiser catar meu Caribou comum e pôr a R$2.000 lá, eu coloco, Lancerote. É por isso que eu não uso Yu-Gi-Oh! Prices como base de preço. Tem gente que é otária, cata a carta e coloca o preço que ela quiser, tá ligado? E aí o Yu-Gi-Oh! Prices pega esse preço e usa a base pra fazer média. É muito escroto usar Yu-Gi-Oh! Prices pra média de preço. Por isso que o brasileiro se fode, tá ligado? Porque fica usando Price. Os melhores sites pra preço é TCG Player, na moral. TCG Player de lojista pra lojista, de player pra player. Melhor site pra bater preço. Se você tá batendo preço de carta justa.
Amazoness Onslaught is semi-limited, so we do know that's his last copy. Baby Tiger returns to the field anytime an Amazoness is summoned, which is really good in combination with Onslaught.
Right. And we're probably going to see the summon of Amazoness Queen here.
Yep, and he gives
Sim,
up the
mas
Tiger to
justamente por isso, Lancerote, o cara põe o preço que ele quiser, mano.
Right.
É isso que é foda. Ele põe o preço que ele quiser, só porque não tem no mercado, a raridade dela é menor. Você lembra bem a época que o dragão pet da arpia, ele não tinha, ele só era promo de quem tinha pegado Forbidden Memories na época? Quem queria montar um arpia full, o quanto que não tinha que desembolsar, porque a bosta do dragão não tinha sido reprintado? Aí graças a Deus ele foi reprintado na collection do Joey, né? A Joey World. Aí ele caiu drasticamente de preço, senão ele ainda estaria valendo uma nota. Até hoje esse dragão ainda é caro. E a arpia não é meta.
Players are taking some time to think. Alright, here we go. We have last gamble.
Agora jogou
so
a
we're going to
skill.
see him discard 2 cards from his hand, pay down to 100.
Discards 2 battery men, so that rolls a 4.
So
Ó, 4 draw por 100 de vida e descartar a mão. Valeu a pena? Vamos ver agora.
He is set to finish off his
Essa
opponent
skill
if
do
he has
Joey
the
é
right cards.
retardada, velho.
Snipe Hunter will clear the
Entendi
way.
porque ele usa Snipe. Porque ele usa,
Let's do
né?
this.
Snipe Hunter, a cool card. Being able to discard a card from your hand. And then you have, like Joey, all the Joey cards love to take a little bit of a gamble. You have to roll a dice, and if you roll anything but a 1 or 6, you'll destroy whatever card you target with his effect. Every time I play Snipe Hunter, I always roll 1s and 6s. I don't know about you. Luck is never on my side. But we do have a trap card, Paleozoic Canadian, which is going to be able to put that Snipe Hunter face down before he can use his effect, possibly stopping Josh Cooper here right in his tracks.
Na verdade, o preço da carta, Felipe, vai de oferta e demanda e do meta do jogo. Se a carta está sendo muito utilizada, a estratégia dela está em alta no meta, ou pelos jogadores, a carta encarece, tá ligado? Agora, se ela literalmente sai de... E também depende da raridade dela, que ela é mais difícil de tirar na caixa, e da edição. Cartas antigas, principalmente que tem alguma ligação com o anime, que nem o caso do Lancerote falou do Zoa, porque é mais ligado ao Forbidden Memories, são cartas caras porque são populares e a galera procura por colecionador. E se tem poucas dela no mercado, a demanda está sendo alta, os caras cobram muito caro. Tá ligado? Mas ainda assim, então os caras que é escroto, cobra muito caro, tá ligado? Não é pouco não, cobra muito caro, por cartas que não valem aquele valor, entendeu? Que é o caso dos Danger, na minha opinião. Os Danger não tá sendo nem meta e tá com preço de deck meta, tá ligado? É estúpido. É muito estúpido pagar isso no deck, mas tem gente que compra, né?
So the Vision Hero Witch Raider really works really well with Amazoness and Endless Trap Hell. Because in order to activate Endless Trap Hell, you have to have 3 or more trap cards in your graveyard. So you can tribute summon for the Vision Hero Witch Raider, which already puts 2 traps in your graveyard. You only have to activate 1 more, and then you add back the trap you tribute summon for right back to your hand to be used later. It also gets you to be able to use multiple copies of Onslaught. You said Amazon's Onslaught is semi-limited, and it will kind of let you play a 3rd copy. Dual skills are really important in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. It makes or breaks the deck that you play.
Young Jun Lee summoned a 3rd monster of the field, so that guarantees that he will in fact need... Cooper will need Sphere Karibo to stay in the duel.
So Amazoness Onslaught's activated, so he banishes.
Sim, as versões
he's going to banish the Batteryman, so he'll be able to
são bem
remove it from his
cara
graveyard
mesmo,
to summon an Industrial Strength. Swordsman going to attack the face-down monster, which is the Snipe Hunter we saw from the Paleozoic Canadian, putting it face down.
Pior que a trap contínua vai banindo tudo, né?
Onslaught.
And here comes the direct attack. Does he have the Seer Karibo to protect him.
É, o cara do Joey perdeu, triste.
Cooper does play 3
O
copies of
americano
Sir Karibo,
perdeu.
and it looks like he does have one in his hand, so he is able to stop the attack.
Ah não, Sphere Karibo. Ai que cagão.
Oh!
But since the Amazon princess attacked, it was able to send that monster that already attacked from the field to the graveyard, opening up that monster zone. So he's able to use the Amazon's willpower to bring back another monster. So now he's going to need a second copy of Sir Karibo to stay in the game.
That's a great play because the princess tributes the monster as a cost. And then before he resolves the effect, he can special summon the monster with willpower in attack position, whereas Princess would only be able to summon in defense position.
Right, and the direct attack from Swordswoman is going to finish this off.
O Amazon levou ainda. Tentou,
Jun Lee takes the first victory.
Well done.
Do you think maybe if he was using Astro Phoenix, he would have had a
Bom,
better
cara, o
chances
Link
here?
Karibo é um staple ótimo pra principalmente os decks Link que faz token. Todo token, a maioria deles é level 1. Dá pra fazer um Link Karibo. O Link Karibo dá pra se usar muitas estratégias.
Josh
então,
and
ótimo.
Lee. We saw Deckmaker winning that
O
one.
engraçado é que a Konami tá esperta, ela sempre tá lançando um monstro muito bom de extra, ou uma carta staple muito boa em um estrutural pra ele poder vender, porque a galera não tá comprando tantos estruturais mais, tá ligado? Porque só tem reprints de algumas coisas interessantes, mas nem tanto. Que nem, por exemplo, o Monster Reborn reprintou de novo, por causa dele ter voltado, né? Teve uma grande procura dele, tá ligado? A galera tava metendo a faca até no comum.
So we're
Monster Reborn não vale nem 5 reais, mano.
Cyrus,
Os comuns antigos, tá ligado? Nem 5 reais eles
valem. The reason why that's popular is because Drillroid being a level 4 Earth machine, you can use
Deixa aí a live aí com vocês, vou pegar minha janta, volto já, hein.
monsters from your deck, which is how they get everything going. And cards like Pulse Mines, a trap card that as long as you control a machine monster, for the rest of the turn, all your opponent's monsters are changed to defense mode, and any monster they summon will go to defense mode. So one of the strongest cards in Duel Links. So I would be very surprised if he doesn't play Girgia next. Oh, but his other legendary deck is the Paradox Brothers 3-star demotion. A dual skill that used to be able to use to summon any big monster from your hand, but now only for Sagna Thunder, Kazajin, Suijin, and Gate Guardian.
Unless you're under 1,000 life points.
Unless you have 1,000 life points or less.
Cooper is actually, I believe, the only duelist in the tournament using Esperoba as one of his character decks. So we might see that here. He's actually using it as an Amazoness deck. The core for the legendary Esperoba deck has to run Jinzo, 1 copy of Jinzo, which is all you can get in Duel Links, 1 copy of Amplifier, and then from the selection, you're able to use Psychic Shockwave, which he's using 2 copies of to complete the core and make it a legal deck for the legendary duels.
Yep. Very smart.
Yeah, so it's definitely interesting. It's easy to tribute summon Jinzo, and he's actually using the Cosmic Enlightenment ability, which allows him to draw Jinzo from his deck, essentially, at will, so when he needs it.
That would be a solid counter deck to an Amazoness deck, I would assume, because Amazoness will focus on the trap cards. But we already saw the Amazoness deck take the win, so that won't have a matchup for right there.
Right, and I do think a lot of players are using Amazonesses as one of their legendary legendary decks.
With embodiment of Apophis.
Yes. Yeah. And many times with Odeon, whose skills have an emphasis on trap cards, which Amazonesses are heavily reliant on. Yep. So we may see the Cosmic Enlightenment deck, and then, if we don't, we will be seeing a Yami Yugi deck with the Destiny Draw ability, using That Grass Looks Greener in Spellbooks.
All right. So we do have Cyrus. So we will be seeing Girgia, and it does look like it is the grass spellbook with Skilled Dark Magician.
Yes, he's running 1 copy of Dark Magician, which is at the core of the deck, as well as a few other elective spell cards, including Dark Magic Curtain and 2 copies of Dark Magic Attack. But to increase the emphasis on Dark Magician, Cooper is also using 2 copies of Skilled Dark Magician, which should be fairly easy to get the effect off for, since the Spellbook deck is so capable of activating a lot of spell cards in 1 turn.
So as you see here, this is one of my favorite parts about Duel Links. So anytime you are playing a certain character and you summon their signature monster, so we have
great animation.
Yeah, great animation. Seeing the Dark Magician
mas aí, Lancerote, você tá comparando uma carta que tem a arte completamente diferente
pretty awesome.
Única, tá ligado?
That grass looks
e que o acesso a ela ainda é limitado. Você não vai em qualquer lugar e fala, vende uma Lost Art aí. Não é qualquer pessoa que tem. Ela foi liberada pros lojistas em quantidade limitada, tá ligado? Por isso que ela é cara. Agora, Monster Reborn que vinha no deck do Yugi e do Joey lá de 1900 e bolinhas. Os caras querem cobrar 20 real, comum. Os caras estão uma cara de pobre absurda. A carta é minha, o preço é meu, exato. Vai ficar entulhado nessa porra da tua pasta, a não ser que algum otário compre. Porque tá fora de valor.
Alright, here we go with Fusion Reserve Roid. So he gets to draw the monster, the dual skill, he gets to draw any Roid from his deck. It's going to be Drill Roid. So that's something that's cool in dueling. So sometimes you want to take damage, because in order to trigger your dual skill, you have to take a certain amount of damage to be able to have it activate.
Right.
Not a fan of that. Taking damage.
You want to stay at 4,000 the whole time.
Master Phoenix never takes damage. He just crushes everyone, right?
So we have a Spellbook of Fate, one of the strongest cards in Duel Links. Able to banish 3 spellbooks that he milled with. They sent to the graveyard with That Grass Looks Greener. He's able to banish 1 card that Cyrus controls. He's going to go for the Gear monster right away before anything too crazy can happen.
Oh, Cooper uses his Destiny Draw ability. Since he paid 2,000 life points with Dark Magic Curtain, he lost the 2,000 life points he needed to make that ability active. So instead of drawing a card from the top of his deck, he would be allowed to search his deck for any card and add that to his hand. But that was already enough to prompt the concession from Young Jun Lee.
Yep, so we are 1-1 here. Both players with 1 win, and it's the first to get 3 wins, I believe.
But now we are, that was the first legendary match. Now we're moving
Falta Sanctuário é muito boa pra
another
decks de
standard.
token que usam ela, tá ligado?
I really, really hope we get to see this
Se eu não
Noble
me
Knight
engano,
deck
depois
here
que você usa
from
ela,
Deck
você não
Maker.
pode
I'm
fazer
very
Special
excited.
Summon sem ser de monstro de luz, né?
We'll either see him use
Não,
Noble
Luz.
Knights or
Acho que ela é
Spellbooks, it
luz.
looks like. With
Se eu não me
Silent
engano, ela é
Magician,
luz.
which is actually one of my favorite monsters in Duel Links.
What's its effect?
You can special summon it by tributing any spellcaster that you control, and once per turn it can negate a spell card that your opponent activates.
Oh, that's huge.
Eu acho que o
If
quanto
they
mais
destroy
você
him,
focar
you
no
actually get to
Thunder
special
Dragon
summon
e
a Silent
menos
Magician
misturar
monster from your deck.
coisa,
So you can replace him with
melhor.
Silent Magician level 8,
E
who
o povo
has
fica, ah,
3,500
Thunder
attack
Dragon
points and
isso,
is
Thunder
unaffected
Dragon
by
aquilo.
spells.
Mano,
So
Thunder Dragon não é
many
tudo
times,
isso.
Silent
O
Magician
uns
also gains
4
attack points for each
pro
card in your opponent's
de Mago
hand.
Negro.
So
Mago
he's
Negro não é
pretty strong
bom.
by himself, and many
É,
times if
eu
your
bati
opponent
sem
can actually
dificuldade.
destroy him, it's replaced by
A
something
única
even
coisa
stronger
chata
and
do
more
Thunder
difficult to
Dragon é o
destroy.
boss deck que não
And
deixa
for
fazer
higher
quase
decks in
nada.
particular, which is one of the most
Mas
popular
ele tem
decks
uma
in the
vulnerabilidade
tournament for standard
grande.
decks.
Se você não
And if you
destrói
ever
ele,
play
você
on,
tira ele de
PvP
campo sem
in
ser
Duel Links, will
destruindo,
be one of the most popular decks you
você
encounter. Sometimes
ganha
struggles
dele.
with Silent Magician,
E
because
o
they have
meta
trouble
tem
destroying
1000
more than one
maneiras de
monster per
tirar
turn,
bicho assim.
since Donpa's effect can only be
Entendeu?
used once per
Isso que é
turn.
complicado.
So I think it's a very good choice for the tournament.
Mas ele é um
It's
deck interessante.
something you
Tipo,
might
pra um
see
deck que
him
não
using
valia
as well.
bosta nenhuma.
I'm excited to
Pegar
see
pelo
what
menos
matchups
um
we
Tier
have.
2,
Let's go and take a look at
bacana.
Josh Cooper's other
Ele é um
decks
Tier
and see what
2,
he
na
might-
minha
Do you think he's
opinião.
going to bring in the
Lá
Gladiator
no
Beast? I
Japão,
think
lógico,
since it's
né?
1-1, he might just go straight to his beatdown for higher.
O Sky Strike, ah, então
thinking
agora o
about
Yu-Gi-Oh
it.
tá assim, né? Ah, enfim, Sky Striker
So
tudo que
yeah,
vira
I mean, those are
meta.
the choices
Tá bom.
for
Parabéns,
Cooper.
vai
He can
estudar
either
mais
use
Yu-Gi-Oh lá.
Gladiator Beasts or for hire.
hire.
I am #1 fan of Gladiator Beasts. No one doubts that. But
You still have
maybe for hires are a little stronger in Duel Links.
And it's very interesting that he decided to bring Gladiator Beast here, but it's also probably his dual skill that he chose to use
Good
for the deck
job.
is Sealed Tombs. And this is Shizu's skill. Once per duel, you just get to activate it, and for the next till the end of your next turn, neither player can special summon from their graveyard or banish cards from their graveyard. So it's kind of like a counter to a spellbook deck. So if he thinks, since he hasn't seen a spellbook deck, he might think that Deckmaker might bring in spellbooks here, so he might go for the Gladiator Beast.
Possible, but it looks like he went for Seto Kaiba, which means he's using Beatdown and he's using Fur Hires.
So looks like Arcana is going to go first. So we do have the spellbook deck. So maybe he should have gone with his Gladiator
Maybe.
Beast.
See, always go with Gladiator Beasts.
Yeah, the Sealed Tomb is just devastating to spellbooks because they rely so heavily on Spellbook of Fate which requires you to banish cards from your graveyard, and you just
Na verdade, mudou bem, viu?
They have no like traps to really
A última vez que estava tendo, por causa das cartas que estão lançando, o Altergeist está conseguindo acompanhar bem o Sky Striker de igual para igual lá. E o Sky Striker, ele tomou numa drone. E é importante pra ele, então isso reduziu a viabilidade do deck, tá ligado? Isso reduziu pra caramba a viabilidade do deck. E é isso que fez os outros decks quase acompanharem. O Thunder Dragon deu um resultado muito positivo na primeira semana, e depois ele já caiu. Decks assim não tendem a ficar muito tempo no meta, tá ligado? Se na próxima semana ele cair mais, mano, eu não dou um mês pra ele sair do meta, tá ligado?
For hires are very good at winning in one turn. Really? And with Hate Grenade blowing away the back row and returning it to the hand.
Vampiro? Não.
Só
se a Konami for retardada e lançar uma coisa muito lazarenta pra zumbi. Zumbi ele tem muito ponto fraco. Zumbi tem muito ponto fraco. A questão não é nem o deck vampiro, é o tipo zumbi no jogo ter muito ponto fraco, tá ligado? Você não vê um deck zumbi no meta mais. Pode prestar atenção pra você ver, você não vê mais. Tem muito side contra zumbi. Então é complicado. O último zumbi no meta foi o Shiranui. E ainda não era puro, ele jogava em decks com outros decks, tá ligado? Porque ele tinha uma tech de Tanner muito boa. Só isso, só. Ah, o Furhide aí. Ó o Beto. O cara veio com o Beto.
Beat is the main for hire. He's the one who goes looking for all the monsters for hire.
Mas eu achei interessante, pelo que eu li sobre.
One of the strongest for hires in the game.
Que eu li sobre.
Because now he's able to search for the for hire and add his hand, and Wiz effect says anytime your opponent activates a spell or trap, you can discard for hire monster and negate it.
Eu lembrei de Flufão na hora. Eu lembrei de Flufão na hora. Sério que o cara jogou a Wise em ataque? Sei lá, é que Duel Links é diferente, né? Acaba rapidão o jogo.
Most likely cannot win this turn, since he's already used his normal summon, and only the level 4 or lower for higher monsters can special summon monsters from the hand. So I think the 2 monsters on his field are the only 2 he's going to have for the turn.
Right. So this is the dual skill I was talking about maybe at the beginning of the stream if you were here, that it increases all your monsters on the field attack by 300 for each level 5 or higher monster you control. They use it because they have pretty strong attack, but they just need a little bit more to be able to do 4,000, so it's able to make all their little weaker monsters a little bit stronger.
Vai pegar o Fate
and do enough damage to end the duel. But you see him booking that, or putting the Spellbook Magician of Prophecy face down was huge because he's able to add another Spellbook card to his hand and protect his life points from the attack.
Right. Although, I guess if he had not activated it, it would have returned to his hand, since it was Hate Grenade.
Right, it would return to his hand, but he doesn't need another copy of that in his hand because Spellbooks are able to search the deck for another copy of Spellbook. So you'll see, Eternity adds secrets, which is interesting. Normally we see Eternity adding Spellbook of the Master, and then you can activate Spellbook of the Master to copy the Eternity to add the Spellbook of Secrets, and then you get both of those Spellbook cards back into your graveyard.
Mas o Spyro mesmo com restrição, se você investir bem, Thiago, ele tá um Tier 2 aqui, ele tá jogando bem. Ele, só que aí você tem que gastar um pouquinho a mais de grana pra comprar os Nightmares, né? Mas o Spyro perto do Vampiro é infinitamente superior, mesmo tendo tomado lista. O Spyro é infinitamente superior.
So yeah, he does play another copy of Spellbook of the Master. It looks like he activated Secrets to get Spellbook of the Master. In order to activate Spellbook of the Master, you do have to control a face-up Spellcaster. So he's going to have to summon the Spellbook Magician of Prophecy. Oh, we see a Treacherous Trap Hole coming immediately. He's trying to get rid of that Spellbook. That Spellcaster monster, so he's not going to be able to activate.
Tô ligado, Lancerote. Até que tá uma boa tinha,
an interesting choice. Yeah, we're going to see the change from his hand of Spellbook of Fate.
Vai banir a Wise, eu acho.
Before he loses Spellcaster, so he's going to be able to banish something. But the Wiz will be able to negate the Spellbook of Fate if he so chooses.
If he has the
que Nightmare é assim que é assim o arquetipo. Depois você pesquisa, um arquetipo só de Astra Deck.
So he got rid of the Dawnblade in his hand.
Depois você pesquisa sobre. Eles estão rodando com eles agora no meta.
And he's also destroying his own Wiz because he wants to keep the beat on the field. But now, even though he had a good opening hand, had a lot of monsters, unless he draws another for hire monster for his turn, he's still not in that great of shape. But if he does draw any for hire monster, Beat will be able to special summon that for hire monster from his hand and search his deck for another card.
Olha, se o cara dá bom draw ali. Se o cara dá bom draw ali,
Deckmaker here has a Treacherous Trap Hole set. You'll see a lot of the Spellbook decks, a lot of the decks in general.
Even if Treacherous Trap Hole is set, If he gets a for hire, he'll also be able to search his deck for a for hire.
This is true.
Summon. So
É a magia que faz
you're right,
espécie
he
do
would
do
survive,
grave.
but he would not be in great shape.
So we have an end phase.
This is really good.
Summon back with. So he does, yeah, and then phase so to avoid treacherous trap hole.
And it triggers Beat's effect as well, so now he has a card in his hand to negate treacherous trap hole, even if Yeonjun Lee has treacherous trap hole. So acknowledging that, he concedes, and Josh Cooper wins the duel.
Wow.
So Josh Cooper, one win away here from winning this match.
So now we're going back to the legendary decks.
So we know what deck these players are going to be using next. It's going to be their other legendary deck. So we are going to get to see deck makers Paradox Brothers 3-star emotion deck, which is for hire, alongside with the help of Gate Guardian along the way. So we're excited to see some more for hire action. If you're watching the dueling stream, this
action
is
for hire.
Action for hire. What do we have Josh here playing? What is his other legendary deck?
Let's see. He has...
Oh, it's the Esperoba. Yeah, the Jinzo.
Yes, the one I discussed before. That's a really cool deck.
It is.
Let's.
It looks like he's like counter to like trap card.
Yeah, it's not great against for hire though.
He does have one trap card in his for hire deck. There's
trap hole.
One treacherous trap hole. We'll
what
see
cards does it focus on? What's the?
So Jinzo is the ultimate trap negator. So it's if your opponent's using trap cards and you have Jinzo, they can't use any of them. Their face-up ones get negated.
Gotcha.
They basically lose. So it's good against a deck like Amazoness, which uses tons of trap cards. But for hire, decks typically have only 1 or 2 trap cards in them.
Nice.
So this doesn't really line up that well for Cooper. Nevertheless,
it's still an Amazoness deck.
It is an Amazoness deck. It doesn't need Jinzo to win. Certainly, the easy access to Jinzo makes it a better deck in some matchups as opposed to others.
Você tem de premissa no jogo.
Amazoness is a strong deck.
Pra você fazer o combo,
very capable of
que Nightmare, é legal você ter dos altos, dos link altos, e pelo menos 2 dos mais baixos que são baratos. Goblin, essa galerinha. Só no set Nightmare, Thiago, só no set Nightmare mesmo, você vai gastar uma média de R$300 sem Ibli. Com Ibli, uns 400. No deck Spiral, você não vai gastar muito, é só o agente que é caro. Você vai gastar uns 200, 300. Você monta o Spiral Nightmare com 600, 700 reais, eu acho. Tranquilamente.
Right. They can actually... Wiz, I'm pretty sure, doesn't even have to negate activation. It can negate the effect activating while it's already
It can negate the effect, but I believe then it won't destroy the card.
It just negates it just
it
for
just
that one.
It negates the effect. So if you can preempt it and actually get rid of the card when it's initially activated,
then you won't have to deal with it later on.
That's what you want to do. I played Amazonesses for a while, and I found that the key to winning in the Amazoness versus for hire matchup is activating Onslaught.
Amazona.
Get rid of it with Wiz. And then if they're going to negate the effect of it when you're using it to banish a monster, so be it. At least you still have your Onslaught.
Right. So we do see not an Amazoness Princess, but an Amazoness Swordswoman. But already having the Baby Tiger, doesn't need to summon it from his deck with the Princess effect. Oh, maybe he hard drew the Amazoness Onslaught. He's going to need something for this Wiz.
Yeah. Swordswoman attacks and destroys Beat.
We also saw him. Do you wonder why Deckmaker decided to destroy his own Dampa with Dampa's effect on his first turn?
Oh,
he summoned Beat and then Dampa and then Wiz and then used Dampa's effect.
Didn't he get 1,000 life points with it?
He did. Yeah, he did get 1,000 life points when that Wiz was summoned.
Maybe he, and I've done this before. Maybe he misclicked.
Oh, outro beta,
It's possible.
Going quickly, activating the effects of all your monsters, and then you realize, oops.
Or he was just making room on his board so he'd be able to summon another monster and trigger Beat's effect. But
it's possible, but it seems unlikely given that he didn't have any back rows and he probably could have assumed one of his monsters would be destroyed.
Right. But we do have... Well, sometimes a lot of players to play around for hire, they will leave their board locked up so they can't keep searching. So they won't destroy one of their monsters. They'll just leave them with 3 monsters on side of the field. So maybe Deckmaker's trying to preemptively make sure that doesn't happen.
It's possible. And actually, if he had not destroyed his Dampa, then Cooper could have actually used his Swordswoman to attack Wiz and deal 1,300 points of damage while leaving
all 3 monsters on the field.
All 3 monsters. So you might be right. That might have actually been intentional, and he might have strategically planned it to get to this moment where he was able to use the effect of Bladesman for hire to special summon Dinah.
Yep, gotta think in advance sometimes. It's always good to think turns ahead.
Not looking good for BK.
Is not looking good for the American. Only 2 back rows. He doesn't have. We didn't see an activation of Amazon's onslaught. Maybe because he knew the Wiz would be able to negate
Sim, eu
it,
já ouvi falar.
Now with no
Nunca
monsters
joguei, mas já ouvi
on
falar.
the field to see what happens. He does have the baby tiger in his grave, so if Josh is able to summon any Amazon's monster, he'll be able to bring back
Ah lá, a trap que
that baby
volta.
tiger. So he's gonna activate the willpower, try and see if Deckmaker negates it.
I would think there's no reason to negate it at this point, right?
Yeah, just let the Amazon's monster come back as long as it's not onslaught. Yeah, you don't want.
Yeah, the only real threat to you is onslaught.
Baby
Although if you
Tiger
negate the
volta
onslaught,
também.
it'll go to the graveyard. Spec will activate to special summon a monster, right?
Right.
Although that might not be that powerful without the onslaught on the field. There's the onslaught. This is what's going to get negated. And actually now there are no Amazonesses to even special summon from the graveyard with this effect. Onslaught does everything. Onslaught's insane.
Ah, o Ice
trap
vai
card,
negar.
we haven't even seen the
Ice
other
vai
effect of it.
negar.
Like during the battle phase, you can just special summon an
Nossa,
Amazon's monster from
Forbidden
your hand
Cálice
and it
na
gains 500
Ice.
attack. On top of just any monster that battles with it are banished. Oh, but we see a chalice here coming down to negate the Wiz.
That's good.
One of the only ways to play around
Bom,
Wiz, you're able to
pelo
negate the
menos ele
effect, and he's
negou,
trying
né?
to
Pelo lado bom,
stop
ele
you
conseguiu
from
negar.
activating your cards.
Ele ia
This has
perder
been a
uma
tough
trap
duel
muito
for
boa
Cooper
agora.
because he didn't get Princess.
Yep.
And Princess really gets everything online.
So he's going to be able to. He's forced to attack the Dyna due to Dyna's effect. You have to attack him first, but the onslaught is going to banish it.
And due to willpower, he must attack.
Mm-hmm.
Can't decline to attack. Any monster special summoned by Amazoness willpower must attack during the battle phase.
And
Felizmente
well
ele
done,
gonna
perdeu.
be it. Deckmaker takes that one easily from the attack.
Bom, tá 2-2 no caso.
Well, that was, so we have
One left.
One left. It's 2-2. It
Very
all comes
exciting.
down to this.
So we will be seeing Gladiator Beasts duel one more time.
Do you think Gladiator Beast is going to be... Oh, this is not a good match. It is Gladiator Beast, which is a deck that relies heavily on back row and
Yes.
using spell and traps to stay alive. But we see the deck maker deck is using 3 copies of Dust Tornado.
Oh.
So that is going to be able to destroy any of the cards that
That's
he's
tough.
trying to mess them up with. And Noble Knights that inherently just have a good matchup. They have cards like Noble Arms Archvidur, which once per turn you can just destroy a set card on the field by lowering your monster's attack by 500.
So he has a lot of back row removal, which is unfortunate.
So things are
for
looking
Cooper.
probably pretty... It's going to be a tough matchup for him, but maybe your Gladiator Beast will be able to eck it out.
Yeah. And his
Vamos ver.
the skills of locking down the graveyard isn't too useful in this matchup, is it?
I would say it's not useful at all. It's
Yeah,
not going to
so-
do anything to the Noble Knight
So
deck.
there's Cooper's suffering a lot of disadvantages, but Gladiator Beasts, they can do anything.
They can do anything except fuse and main phase 2.
Yeah, well.
You Gladiator Beast... Oh, we see the summon of
Gladiator
Gladiator
Beast
Demikari.
mesmo. Sério que
He's the
GB
double
tá
attacker
bom
if he's
aqui,
special
é?
summoned by the effect of another Gladiator Beast.
Não é que é
Not
GB
exactly who you want
mesmo?
to be starting with.
But you do see the 3
Vamos
spell and
ver
trap cards, so we'll have to see Deckmaker opens up with a Noble Knight Madrot and a Noble Arms Archvidur.
I was very excited for the last Gladiator Beast event,
Noble
in
Knight.
Duel Links, where you were able to get Darius and a quest finally.
Very good Gladiator Beast
Noble,
needed.
se pensar bem, o Noble Knight
As I just
realmente é
said,
um bom
I
deck,
must have
né,
known it was
pra
in his
jogar no
hand.
Duel
A normal
Links.
summon a Madrot equipped with an
Mesmo que
Archvidur.
você não
Oh.
tenha
Archvidur
os
just destroying the
X-Seed
wall
e
of
tudo
disruption.
mais,
Now the Madrot's affecting the
deck que
destroy
joga a
the
base
Noble
de
Arms
equipe
equip
no
card.
Duel Links
Special
é bem
summon Dristan
forte
from his
até.
deck. And then he has to
Olha lá o
destroy the
Drista.
equip card, re-equip the
Trouxe o
Dristan. He's going to be able to
Drista.
pop the face-up monster, and then he's going to be able to use the effect again to destroy another spell or trap.
Não
So we're going to
dá,
see his entire board wiped
Lancerote.
away with
A
this 2-card
Atlas,
combo.
ela proíbe.
We knew this
Ela
match
não
was going to be very
deixa
rough for him
o
coming into
hardware
it,
do Play
and
4, porque eu não
seems to
tenho
be
placa de
working out that
captura
way.
externa.
But it looks like he
É, a
chose
minha
not to
é
equip it to
do
the
Play
Dristan
4 mesmo.
and just re-equip it to
Ela
the
não deixa gravar
Madrot, because as long
nada
as
do
Madrot
jogo.
has less attack than
Nada.
the Dristan,
Quem
he'll
tem
have
na
to
net é
target or
porque
attack the
tem de
Dristan
placa de
first before
captura
he does
externa
anything
e
else.
ainda assim corre
He's
o
going to
risco
wait
de
to
levar
attack or do
flag ou
anything because
strike
he's
da
already seen 2
Atlas.
copies of Wall of Disruption, which only
Então
doesn't
não dá
when
pra
you
mim
declare an
trazer,
attack.
senão
So
já
you can
teria
play around
trazido
that by
que
just
tempo.
not attacking and taking your time.
Mas se
to clear
você
the
quer
board.
ver Persona 5, Lancerote, o Rei Tails fez ele completinho,
So
bonitinho,
Mike,
mano.
you're our Gladiator Beast expert.
Procura
What
o canal
did he
dele,
do
mas
here?
tá
Well,
muito
unfortunately,
bom lá.
Gladiator Beast Gyzerus is
Tá
not in Duel
perfeito.
Links,
Fez
so
bonitão.
That would be a huge card to
a
summon
little
right
tough.
here.
I mean, the key to Gladiator Beast is to battle. You always want your monsters to battle and to survive the battle so that they can shuffle back into the
Ai,
deck,
isso dói.
effectively tagging out for the Gladiator Beast you
Ai,
want.
isso dói.
And then each of them has an effect that will activate when it's special summoned by the effect of
Ciao.
another Gladiator Beast. So you're really able to capitalize on all of those.
Ciao.
But Cooper does have anti-magic arrows, which will lock down Yum Lee's back row, which allows his Gladiator Beast to attack successfully and now use their effects to special summon monsters in their place.
Cooper being able to turn it around here a little bit. Let's use special Bestiary to destroy that back row that he locked down thanks to the anti-magic arrows.
Vai destruir lá atrás.
Anti-magic arrows is one of those. Oh, it is a wild tornado. Oh no! Since Wild Tornado was destroyed by his opponent's card effect, he gets to destroy any card in the field, so he'll destroy that other monster. Devastating.
I believe its effect is also stopped by anti-magic arrows.
Was it? Oh yeah, I forgot.
So even in the grid, anti-magic arrows is very good.
Yeah, so he didn't have the downside of destroying the monster.
Mas a Atlas, ela dá strike quando começa a chegar na parte da história que ela não deixa liberar Lancelot. No começo do jogo ela até deixa quando o cara faz live. Mesmo que com a placa... né? Porque não tem como fazer com a placa do Play 4. Com placa de captura externa. Que não é o meu caso. Nem placa de captura eu tenho, é a do Play 4 mesmo. Então não tem como mesmo. Eu queria até trazer.
Top decking.
Mas como eu disse, se você tiver curiosidade de ver um BR que fez, Reiteiros fez inteirinho, velho. Fez inteirinho.
Very impressive, Kaiba.
Again, it looks like we're going to have a concession right here from Josh Cooper, and Young Lee is going to take round 1. Congratulations, he's moving on with being 1-0 in this round robin tournament where all the players in their pools are going to be able to play against each other. So if you want to do well in this tournament, you have to beat everybody.
Right, so the players are separated into 2 blocks. So the top 2 in each block.
Bom, o cara do Gladiator ele tentou, né?
And from there, a champion will be crowned.
Tentar, ele tentou.
Yeah, that was an exciting first match. We got to, I hope every round goes all 5 games. I love to see all the players' decks.
That's always great.
Yeah, seeing the Gladiator Beast in action, like they had a chance. The turn with the anti-magic arrows, like I was excited about that. I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
It's funny in dueling. So when you're playing in the TCG, you could be like, you have to announce all your phases, draw a phase, standby phase, and it does the same thing in dueling. But when you enter your battle phase, unless you have your toggle on, there's no way to do anything before you're going to get anti-magic arrows. So if you're just playing like normal, you don't have a toggle on, they'll just go straight to the battle phase. Anti-magic arrows comes down. You can't activate your chainable card, and that's what we saw there.
Anti-magic arrows, though, has fallen out of favor actually quite a bit because of Hey Crunade.
Right, because you have another card you can...
Oh, that negates it.
Hey Crunade just returns all set, spell, and trap cards from the field to the hand.
Gotcha.
So if you want to get rid of the back rows, clear the way for you to beat your opponent, it's in many ways a more effective way to do it because you're able to use Hey Crunade earlier.
A mecânica do Gladiator Beast é interessante, mas já foi, né, velho?
After that, leading to your opponent's defeat.
As opposed to having to wait till the battle phase.
Right.
But you lose that like surprise factor, like haha, anti-magic arrows. But it's kind of like a one-trick pony. Like as soon as you see that anti-magic arrows, you're like, oh, I know this is coming now. I'm going to have my toggle on. We're going to go through every single phase. I'm going to make sure I can activate my card.
Não espera algo 100% fiel ao jogo, literalmente idêntico, você vai gostar. Só que ele é bem rushadinho. Ele é bem rushadinho, mas ele não é ruim,
around. We're going to be streaming the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG Round 1 coming up next.
Thanks for joining us.
Stay tuned.
Vai dar uma pausa? Galera, eles vão dar uma pausa aí. Normalmente eles fazem isso mesmo. Vou tirar o som aqui e vou tirar o fundo. Quando voltar, aí eu volto, tá? Sim, todos os animes de Persona são rushados, mas como Persona 4 era um bagulho que foi mais pra fanbase mesmo, tá ligado, em si, a galera não reclamou tanto. Não atraiu tanta gente que literalmente é novata no negócio. Diferente do Persona 5, que até atraiu uma boa parcela de público que nunca tinha jogado Persona. E aí os caras, né, começaram a reclamar. Boa parte das pessoas começaram a reclamar, mas anime de Persona sempre foi rushado. Os caras reclamam por bosta nenhuma, tá ligado? Padrão. Nada mais que o esperado. Já foi uma partida de Dual Links já, ô, gente. É porque o Mundial de Yu-Gi-Oh! É em todas as categorias que eles vão mostrando, né? Eles vão variando. Não é tipo só campeonato normal. E como tá naquele tempo de, tipo, ó o que tá? Ah lá, estamos esperando a próxima partida. Então eu tirei aqui o fundo, vou colocar alguma coisa aqui de fundo enquanto não entra. Não acabou não, viu, gente? Acabou não. Deixa eu ver um wallpaper legalzinho pra pôr de fundo enquanto não começa a próxima partida. Ou eu posso simplesmente fazer do jeito que eu faço lá, né? O do desenho e tudo mais. Boa noite, mano. Boa noite. Como estás? New Order? Pode ser. Apesar que não tem o tamanho de um wallpaper, né? Mas, olha lá, fica bom. Se tivesse o tamanho do wallpaper certinho, eu até deixaria. Deixa eu remover aqui. Será que esse é um tamanho certo? Olha, quase, hein? Quase deu perfection. Na verdade deu quase perfection mesmo, ó. Pera aí, joga por cima aqui o chat. Pronto. Nós estamos bem. Tá se virando aí, sem grana, né? Fazer o quê? It's the life. Mas vamos aí. Sinceramente, eu nunca joguei o Persona 4, então eu não posso comentar do Adachi. Mas o Akeshi eu gostei. O Akeshi eu achei um puta personagem legal. Me dá esse wallpaper? Ué. Sei lá, printa. Perdão. Pera aí. Pronto, printa aí a tela. Aí depois você salva. Printou? Pronto. Agora volta. Sim, é um desenho da Maria. Ali a assinatura dela, ali, ó. Antes que perguntem. Sim, é um desenho dela. Sem grana desde que nasci. Pois é, né? Nós não tem grana, né? Papai! Eu não tenho mais como depender, né? A gente apela assim nos últimos momentos, mas, nossa senhora, depender dos outros é uma porra, gente. Depender dos outros é uma desgraça. Não dependam dos outros. Tentem ser independentes o máximo que vocês puderem. É foda. É Freud. Não, tipo, realmente, tem hora que a gente tenta, né, tipo, a gente dá nosso jeito, né, Gabriel? Mas, tipo, tentar ser o mais independente possível, tá ligado? É isso que eu quero dizer, literalmente não ser 100% dependente. Porque aí fode o batalhão. É isso que fode o batalhão, tá ligado? Bom, esperar, né? Kunamis arrumaram braguetes. Não é que ficou óbvio, mas sabe quando você olha assim, de alguma maneira você nota, cara, este cara é muito bonzinho? Este cara tem algo que... Foi, pra você ter uma noção, a ironia. A primeira vez que eu vi o Akeshi, quando ele conversa ainda com a irmã, né, da Makoto lá, Eu falei, caralho, ele toma cara de Raito, mano. Tipo, a expressão dele de estudioso, bom menino perfeito, ele tem uma cara de Raito. Tomara que ele não seja filha da puta que nem o Raito mesmo, né? E eu acabei acertando. Sem saber de nada, eu acabei acertando já logo de início na minha primeira impressão, entendeu? Eu acho que ele fez um bom papel como antagonista. Ele até foi bem disfarçado, mas ficou bem claro, tá ligado? Depois de um tempo na história, você nota bem que o cara tava ali pra te fuder, não tava ali pra te ajudar, saca? Beleza, galera? Daqui uns 2 minutinhos volta, hein? A partida ali. Pô, pior que se fosse menor a tela, acho que seria melhor. Mas eu achei legal o personagem mesmo em si, tá ligado? Eu achei ele muito bom. O personagem em si ficou do caralho, né? Gostei muito. Qual que será que vai ser a próxima? Eu acho que vai ser Duel Links de novo, né? Provavelmente. Provavelmente será alguma partida de Duel Links. Dos boss eu não tenho um predileto. Não sei te dizer, viu, Lancerote? Sei lá, mano. A briga contra a irmã da Makoto, eu esqueci. A Sai. A briga contra a Sai eu achei muito interessante. Questão de ser tipo aquele bagulho de cassino lá e tudo mais. E a personagem é da hora também. Acho que dela, tá ligado? Provavelmente. A do Shido também é boa. A do Shido também é uma das melhores músicas. Vai tomar no cu, né? Uma das melhores músicas temas do jogo, tá ligado? Ou a hora que começou a orquestra lá a tocar a música Rivers in the Desert na apresentação dos jogos a competir jogo do ano. Ô, louco, filho. Já merecia ganhar o jogo do ano ali, já o Persona. Já merecia ali de fundo passando os melhores momentos do jogo. Falei, vai tomar no cu, como é que vocês não vão dar jogo do ano pro Persona depois disso aí? Mas enfim, né? Zelda é Zelda, né? Fazer o quê? Zelda is Zelda, né? Sim, é a luta da roleta. Isso mesmo. É essa daí. Deixa eu já voltar aqui, porque já vai voltar. Some. Pera aí. Some. Aí, agora vai. Volta o volume.
Hello and welcome to the Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championships 2018. I'm here with Jerome McHale and Robert Boyachin, and we're here to cast all of the action over the weekend to see the creme de la creme of the Yu-Gi-Oh! World fight for that World Championship. How are you guys feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I was a little pumped up for Duel Links just now, but I'm ready to get some card slinging going on here.
Yeah, so tell us about our first match.
Well, first up, we've got Walter Jewell from the United States versus Sung Chul Young from Korea. Walter Jewell was our second place, a runner-up at the WCQ this time around, and he actually bucked the trend of the entire format, really, and brought a pendulum deck to the event, which took him all the way to the finals, and he was
corajoso,
great stuff with it.
Sério?
Yeah, he's every time I see him play,
Parabéns, corajoso. Já é uma assim, tá, eu não gosto, pendulum é deck, mas que é corajoso ele é.
He is
Ele deve ter ido de algum deck pêndulo. Tem um cara que falou que tá de pêndulo ali. Eu falei, caralho!
I don't think anybody... Well, Johnny might have. Johnny Lee back in our office. Because he sees him play regularly down in San Diego. Right? And I remember him telling me that he's thinking about playing Paleozoic when he saw him at Anime Expo, another show we were at just a couple weeks back. So we kind of had an inkling that could be the case, but I thought for sure he was going to switch to Altergeist.
Yeah. Well, I remember when he came second at the NWCQ, it did cause a huge rift in the European scene, because everyone was suddenly like, oh, do we have to prepare for this? You know?
E agora em Lancerote, não tem ideia.
The World's format this year is... It's actually not that different.
A promo desse Mundial não tem nem noção.
TCG format that we've been playing for the last few months. Last year, I know it was very difficult, especially on the Canadian and US players, because it was completely different. And the best deck for that event wound up being something that they hadn't ever seen before with the True Draco Dinosaur deck. But this year I think they're a lot better prepared because they had a lot better, much more useful starting point from the WCQs just a while back. Many of the same decks that you saw just a month ago playing in the European WCQ, North America, South America, those decks will be showing up in basically intact form for this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, the big change here is we lost a couple copies of drones, terraforming, and reincarnation, right? So the Sky Striker Trickstar deck that we knew sort of doesn't exist in the same way.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, sort of not really filling his place, but emerging as the third player in the format against Goki and Sky Striker is the Altergeist deck, which I think currently is the second most popular deck in the OCG. So
it's the second most popular deck in this tournament as well.
Yeah. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the players adapt to that deck. So because I'm not too sure how familiar most of the TCG
Mundial é
players
foda.
were before.
Pra quem não sabe, de Yu-Gi-Oh! Tem jogo que é no CG, que é o jogo japonês, que tem coleções que estão 3 meses à frente. E tem o nosso jogo. E a banlist dos jogos é diferente. Então, quando junta o Mundial, é uma fusão das duas banlists em uma só. Então, tipo, um deck que você jogava bem no formato, pode ficar ruim quando juntar a lista, tá ligado? E aí você tem que trocar o deck, você vai.
But if it's just Trickstar, that's fine. If it's just Sky Striker, that's also fine.
Yeah. So, speaking of Sky Strikers,
mas tem bastante deck legal pro formato. Eu fiz uma live mais cedo ainda comentando um pouco.
There have been a lot of pure Sky Striker
eu aposto, tipo, não que eu quisesse, né? Porque tão nojo, mas provavelmente Goki deva levar o Mundial. Provavelmente. Mas pode ser que Sky Striker ganha também, pode ser que o Altergeist ganhe.
Minor differences between a bunch of these decks.
It's mostly what strategies they're trying to prepare for. I think that's Jung is actually one of my favorite. This list is one of my favorites of the whole tournament because he has main deck copies of both Evenly Match and Twister. Twisters, which you can expect to be good in the mirror match, as well as against Altergeist. Evenly Match also is fine against Goki as well. You know, you bait the Tri-Gate, and then after that you can evenly match and get yourself back in the game.
I think it's always interesting to think of it in different ways of, do you want to, like, you know, just prepare for different things, so playing stuff like Twin Twisters evenly matched, or do you want to just stick to your own strategy and make sure that your core engine goes off in the way that you want it to? It's interesting.
In particular, there's a lot of spell and trap removal that I'm seeing.
Deck de personagem de anime que
like, people know that Altergeist is a thing because it has a really good Goki matchup in particular.
Pelo menos pra mim.
There's a lot of red reboots. There's a lot of Twin Twisters. There's even some Hey Trunade as well, which I thought would be more popular with Sky Striker being a thing.
Yeah, coming out from a lot of OCG players as well. There's the Inspector Borders and Unending Nightmares, which are some of the best cards against Altergeist. Unending Nightmares can also do cool things in Sky Striker, like destroy your own cards so you can trigger the triple spells.
Yeah. The scary thing with
Mas Twin Twister tá barata, Lancerote. Reprintou pra caralho. Acho que tem até de estrutura agora, Twin Twister, não tem?
And one of the things that people do a lot in the United States, at least with their Altergeist deck, is side into Inspector Border.
A época que Twin Twister valia 40 pau, era osso mesmo. Quando só tinha uma
That's the thing with the control deck. You want to try and, you know, limit the possibilities of what you need to negate in a way. So, like, playing stuff like Rivalry of the Warlords or Inspector Boy, you know, those things that really shrink down the number of things that you've got to deal with are really useful in those kinds of decks.
The one card that I have not seen that I thought we would see is There Can Be Only One. There's a lot of rivalry, there's a lot of goes, even Battle of the Elements, but I haven't seen There Can Be Only One, which I thought might be well, a little more of a thing in combination with cards like Eater of Millions.
Yeah, I think in a lot of the Altergeist decks, in that slot where you had it, they have a lot of Torrential Tributes. I think that might be a popular card.
Depois que reprintou,
Torrential's always been one of those cards that's just, if you don't prepare for it, if you don't even think that it can get you, that's when it gets you.
Yeah. It's also similar to both Rivalry and There Can Only Be One in that it's a trap card that's pretty good going second.
Yeah.
As long as your opponent commits one more monster, you can still flip it and try to interact in that way.
Because remember, we had that match back at NAWCQ with the True Draco player.
Totally awesome. Depois que reprintou, tá muito barato também.
Just went off, played all of his cards.
Não sei, Gil. O Mundial não é só hoje, tá ligado? Ele vai até um horário, vai parar, aí depois vai pro outro horário.
I think we had something as well. I can't remember whether it was a YCS last year, that you know, Torrential just wasn't being played and someone overcommitted. They have games, but they overcommitted to try and make sure they could negate everything, and then in reality they just fell over to Torrential Tribute, which was
porque tem longas pausas entre uma partida e outra. É porque o Dual Links as pausas são menores.
Wow.
Tem pausas longas entre uma partida e outra, tá ligado?
And I'm sitting there like, well, you lose if you don't play it. It's not really a choice, is it?
No. Lose or continue playing. I know which one I'd go with.
So the frog monsters in
É que
particular
esse já deve ser o quarto mundial que eu acompanho de Yu-Gi-Oh!
Popular with them is that they're all level 2 aqua monsters.
Ó, 2013 eu não vi direito, eu vi depois.
When you put them together, 2 of
2014
them,
eu
you
não
get
vi ao
totally awesome,
vivo.
which is
Mas
it's
eu
basically
vi
the Trigate Wizard of slow trap decks.
Yeah,
it's in the name. It's totally awesome.
Quinto
yeah,
mundial
it's also a
que eu
huge
acompanho.
card advantage engine,
Já
right?
o
Every
quinto
single turn they get
mundial.
another frog, which typically swap frog sends another monster. They just keep riding that chain up. How do you think the frog matchup is, or Paleozoic frog against Altergeist? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, that is kind of
Nossa,
interesting.
isso aí é triste.
They're very similar
Faz
decks,
assim então,
in
Dio.
this case, but
Coloca o
one
celular
of
pra
them
carregar,
gets
deixa
essentially
ele
their
pelo
own
menos
Trigate
carregar
Wizard,
nem
and a
ou
bunch
metade
of,
da bateria,
built-in-
tanto
Well,
bom.
it depends on which
Depois você
Paleozoic
pega
you're
ele de
playing.
novo, mano.
I think he's flipping stuff
Você que
down.
sabe,
and
porque
you can flip stuff
provavelmente
down. That's
até
actually
esse
good
tempo,
against Altergeist because it's not a link
dá
heavy deck.
pra fazer aqui,
So,
porque eu vou ter que
Canadia,
adiantar o crescimo.
The Book of Moon type
Então
Paleozoic
vai demorar
is
pouquinho, mas não vai
particularly
demorar
good
muito
in that
não.
matchup. Because one thing that you can't, that Altergeist really doesn't want is to be face down.
Pode pular pra
You need to
carregar
return
então,
face up
mano.
cards
Melhor pra
for
você.
Silquidus, that sort of thing. You need to be able to, if Melissac has to be face up, to link summon, link Kariba with it, etc. So I think.
Nossa, aqui também, velho. Eu quase fiquei doente. Eu fui
well
cortar Falou,
against
Dio, até
Altergeist.
depois. Eu
He's
fui
also
cortar
running Rose
cabelo,
Match,
Gabriel.
which I think
Sabe o
is
que é
not
cortar
that matchup
cabelo
as well.
só, tipo,
Yeah.
15
He's
minutos,
got all these
tá ligado? O
aqua monsters,
cabeleireiro é
you can
perto de
run
casa.
both,
Eu voltei,
but
eu tava
Rose in
ardendo de
particular hurts
febre,
Altergeist
filho.
because they're
Só
all
por
different
causa da
attributes.
mudança climática. Olha isso aí que
It's always
absurdo.
interesting to see like two quite
Eu tava
slow
ardendo de
decks that
febre,
don't do a
filho.
lot of
Virou
damage.
uma
That was a
bosta
reason
nas
why
questões, né?
people
Traz
started
doença
putting
pra
Trickstar
porra.
in
Fazer
Skystriker,
o
so
quê?
they had that abundance of
Yeah,
damage
damage.
as well as the control.
And we've seen some people doing that as well.
E vamos pra partida?
So here we are. Let's get
Aê,
straight
vamos
into
ver.
our game 1 for the first round of the World Championships. So we see
Walter
there
Julie
Walter Jewell on
versus
the left
Seung
from the United
Shu
States
Jung. Será
and
isso
Sung
mesmo?
Chu Young from Korea. I love those sleeves. Look at them. They're fabulous.
They're pretty radiant.
Yeah. First
They
year, I
match
think
the
we
shirts.
switched off the blue color, right?
Vamos ver.
They match the shirts as well.
O formato que eles fizeram na
The jerseys
mesa
look
ficou
especially
melhor
good this
desse
year. They have
jeito.
the
Antes eles
Yu-Gi-Oh card
faziam
backs
do
on
outro
them.
lado.
Actually,
Yes.
like the design
Ficava
of the
meio
Dragon
zoado.
Ball
Desse ano
shirts.
tá melhor.
Purple ones?
Do
You like
jeito
those
que eles
a
estão
little bit?
filmando a
Really good.
mesa.
I like them a lot.
Purple's my favorite color, so that one definitely
uma,
definitely my
Setor
favorite.
Alright, looks
2.
like we're
Caralho,
underway.
que deck é esse? Altergeist? Setor
That's about what you
3.
expect to see from a Paleozoic deck going first. Bunch of
Yep.
face down cards. What you really want to be seeing here is Swap Frog.
Setor
though.
bicho.
He's not got it.
No.
Uai.
So, yeah,
Caralho, é
hard to say
Altergeist, não é
what the set
possível.
monster is there.
É
Could be Ronin
Altergeist.
Toadin or, you know,
Dupe Frog.
Dupe
Cara,
Frog is
acertou
the most
4
preferred
cartas e passou,
monster
mano.
to set.
Now, if Jung has evenly matched right here, that's already going to be a huge blowout.
Yeah.
1 for 3.
Tô achando que é Altergeist, hein? Setou tudo e passou.
Oh, I think he has that.
Ah, ele vai dar
in his
Evenly
face.
Match. Ele tá passando as fases. Ele vai dar na
He's got that
Battle.
look in his eye, too.
Ele vai
Yeah.
dar Evelyn. Triste.
Now, this
Both
is
of
the
these
point
players look
where
quite
you
so-
Ah
start
lá,
flipping your
é
trap.
Paleozoic
Yeah.
mesmo, Lancerote. Parabéns.
So he is running
Paleozoic
one that
mesmo, você
sends
acertou.
a trap from the
I
deck
mean,
to the
do
graveyard.
you really gain anything
Umbrella.
by flipping your traps?
You do because you get them in the graveyard instead of banish
Oh, yeah,
face
yeah, yeah.
down.
You're right,
Yeah.
you're right, you're right.
Yeah, I
Paleozoic
think that's
mesmo.
Morella. It's kind of hard to see, but I
Mas
think
eu
that's
acho que é
Morella, which is the
Paleozoic
one
com
that does send.
Altergeist, hein?
So that's
Será?
pretty
Yeah,
good.
it's definitely Morella.
Uma
He's
variação
going to straight away
interessante
get
pra
2
usar.
of his Paleozoic traps in the grave, and that's where they want to be. So, tell us a little bit about the Paleozoic traps
Jogou.
themselves.
Ó esse
Why
brilho,
are they
que
so good
delícia.
when
Tem
they get
Mundial, tem brilho
sent to
nas
the graveyard?
cartas.
So the Paleozoic traps in the graveyard have basically a quick effect that you chain directly to the activation of another trap card that special summons them as a monster. It's a level 2 water aqua,
Tem que
1200
fazer
attack,
pair
and it's
shuffle
unaffected
toda
by
vez que
other monster
morre,
attacks.
velho.
They are they don't look like much, but once you start getting multiples of them on the field and you can exceed summon, whether it's their own monsters.
Eu também
Paleozoic
pensava
Exceed
isso na
monsters
época do
actually really
Paleozoic,
Yes,
Lancerote.
yeah.
Na
good.
hora
Whether
eu
it's them or
penso também
totally awesome, you just have
Paleozoic.
a really good toolbox of monsters to pick from.
Yeah, so that's why they work so well with the Frog engine, because they are also level 2 aqua monsters.
One thing about Jung's deck as well is he's playing the single copy of Sky Striker Mega
Ah,
Shark
os
Cannon.
caras
Yes.
têm que
So
conferir,
that's going to be
velho.
really good in this
Os
matchup.
caras
What
lêem
does that
mesmo a carta pra ter
banishes
certeza,
the
tá
card
ligado?
from
Pra
your
não
opponent's
ter
graveyard.
mispo,
Okay,
não
that's
ter,
gonna
né,
help out a lot.
mistime,
He's going to
não
be able to
ter
chain that to
literalmente
the
erro ali.
Paleozoic cards.
Apesar que
affecting
ainda
the
assim
graveyard.
acontece de ter
Does
erro,
it,
tá
does it
ligado?
specifically banish
Você
a
vê.
monster? It
I
might
think it's a
actually just
monster.
banish a monster.
Oh.
It's a
But
monster.
regardless, you can use it against Ronin
Ronin
Totem, which
Totem.
is huge, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ronin Toadin, similar.
Sim, toda vez que eles
Not
mexerem no
similar,
deck, tem que fazer
also
esse
a
processo
level
do
2 kind of
dono
yeah,
embaralhar e o
get out of the
oponente também
graveyard by
embaralhar.
banishing a frog.
Toda
Yeah, so it
vez.
is one monster.
Toda vez.
And it's its secondary ability, if you have 3, is you can special summon instead of banish it.
This evenly match is still going to be
evenly match, sabia.
Yeah. You got to take that.
What do you think is going to
evenly
leave on
match.
field?
Evenly.
Oh.
Teve que banir, tem que banir virado pra cima, mano. Não é banido virado pra cima?
Yeah. If it was, if it is a mistake, that is definitely
no.
Yeah, or one of the continuous trap cards. He still doesn't know necessarily that his opponent's on Sky Striker.
No.
All he's played is an evenly match, so it still could just be
porque ele descobriu parte do deck, mas ele não descobriu inteiro, né?
Yep, there's evenly matched.
Evenly matched, you can activate from your hand if you control no cards on the field.
Ó, Desires, hein? Vamos ver, menos 9 que nem os caras zoam. Não tem problema, Deku, vai ficar salvo.
There's 10 of them for Pot of Desires.
Ah!
Oh, get ashed. However, Jung didn't have anything proactive on his side, so even though he's trading, I guess a little bit up, he traded up obviously in the match. I think trading the Ash for the Desires is a positive.
Lá vai, Terraform. Agora nós vamos descobrir qual deck o coreano ali tá jogando.
Definitely.
That's one thing I always found with Paleozoic.
Sky Striker.
Like,
era meio óbvio.
You gotta get your resources going quite quickly, otherwise, you know, top decking with them.
Sky Striker, tava meio na cara. Ele não jogou pra não tomar as traps por motivos óbvios.
If you don't get those resources, you know, in the graveyard as soon as possible, then you don't really get anywhere very fast.
Yeah, you've got the super rare Ash Blossom there. If you were on our YouTube channel this morning, you might have also seen a super rare Ash Blossom.
Nossa, mas é triste levar Ash no Desires, hein?
Area 0. This is the field spell for the Sky Striker deck.
Ah, pensei que tinha dado
pretty good.
Ali, os
the main thing
you want for is to
blow it up so you can get Ray. But it also helps find your other Sky Striker cards as well. It's overall quite good. You need to have stuff to send to the grave to use it, though.
Ele explicou o que acho que ele tá explicando o que a carta de campo
Sky Striker deck, because obviously, you know, mostly I've seen the Trickstar Sky Strikers.
Muta em algum lugar, Toro.
Really
como eu tô aqui na live, muta lá no Discord lá, que aí você para. Aí dá pra ouvir uma só.
Some discussion to be had just there.
Search is successful.
Ah, essa é boa, hein?
Multi-roll. Mecha multi-roll.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's kind of the, it gets compared very often to Spellbook of Judgment, which I know you remember very well from Vegas.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
We were just talking about Spellbook.
Mas só pela tech do deck ele tá usando.
That deck was actually a little bit less prominent at the World Championship than it was at the
Mas só pela tech do deck,
it did make it to the
ele tá usando Sky Striker puro. Muito provavelmente ele tá usando Sky Striker. Ó, Valor ali.
Excavate your top 3. And you add a Sky Striker to your hand
Valor
and send a targeted card to the graveyard.
Filou o cemitério com Afterburner, beleza.
Afterburners.
So what's the key factor of Sky Strikers? What makes them good? What makes them tick?
Well, basically, Ray has everything.
Striker no Mundial
it's the fact that all your cards have a lot of utility in that you can access just about anything you need, especially with the Link monsters. It's similar to Zodiac in that you only need one monster to summon an extra monster that gets you going. Yeah,
that's right. I see her just there.
Yeah, and it also has a great late game because as soon as you get 3 spells in the graveyard, all your spells start doing
that's really important thing for Sky Strikers. Basically, all of their cards do something good. But as soon as you get 3 spells in the graveyard and start using them, they get the good effect still and a great effect on top.
Yeah, if you made a list of everything that a spell card can do that you would want in a deck, Sky Striker essentially has all of them.
Yeah,
and more.
And more. Some of them are stapled together.
Yeah,
like Afterburners, destroy a monster. If you have 3 more, destroy a set card.
Yeah,
or a spell and trap rather.
Yeah, just starts cleaning out boards very quickly.
And Sky Striker mobilize engage. Card he played to search out Ray. Search your deck for a Sky Striker. If you have 3 spells in your graveyard, draw a card.
Yeah, there's a card in the game, Upstart Goblin, which people just let you draw 1 card, which is considered pretty amazing. In fact, it's on the Forbidden Limited list at the moment. It's pretty amazing. Getting 3 spells in the graveyard isn't necessarily too hard.
Now, Ray herself is very interesting. So we can see that he's going to battle here and attacking. And the reason he's doing that instead of just Link summoning right away is because Ray has an ability to tribute her as a quick effect to special summon one of your Link monsters from the extra deck.
Yeah.
So he can get 1500 damage in there, and then essentially transform her to a different battle mode in the battle phase, and she becomes Sky Striker Ace Kagari instead. He gets plus 100 attack points for every spell in the graveyard.
It's a big reason why Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries isn't the best against the pure Sky Striker deck, because if they start with Ray, if you try to get rid of their Kagari, they can just respond with Ray and summon it.
Yeah.
But then obviously they can just hit the Shizuku instead and vice versa.
But that's the thing, people don't have extra deck space a lot of the time, and they think they get away with just one Ray.
E aí ele passou. Sério, ele não fez Shizuku no final do turno? Ah, bom, pensei que tinha acabado. Louco, não vai fazer Shizuku no final do turno? Estranho. Buscou a
Jewel is
âncora.
playing Reaper and Winter Cherries,
Beleza.
but he only has Kagari, actually, in his extra deck.
Yeah. So that's the situation
that's a
we just
weakness
spoke
in
about
this
is
particular
exactly
matchup.
yeah. That's one big thing with the Paleozoic Frog deck is generally their extra deck is full.
Será que é Paleofrog mesmo? Caraca, o cara foi corajoso, hein, de Paleofrog no Mundial.
So even now it's going to be
Isso é coragem,
It
hein?
used to be a little loose. Like, it was loose enough that they could play multiple copies of Totally Awesome and multiple copies of the Paleozoic monsters. And you can't do that now.
Na verdade é
When you
Paleofrog
say
mesmo, os
Mistborn,
caras estão falando
help
ali,
free
né?
up your zone so
Paleofrog
you can
mesmo,
get,
mano.
your double
Você
link
vê?
Xyz monsters, or the Nightmares, just because they're the Nightmares and they're really good.
Yeah. So now we finally see what
Não pode
Walter
trocar, é
Jewell
outro
decided to keep.
atributo, né, irmão?
It was
Aí
Gozen
não
Match.
dá pra fazer.
So Gozen Match works very interestingly.
Só uma pergunta, por que ele não
When
deu
you link
Gozen
summon
Match a hora
or
que a
see
Rei
summon, that sort
veio?
of thing. Well, there goes Gozen
Por
Match,
que
but
que não deu Gozen Match a
tells
hora
us
que a
about
Rei
it, Twin
veio?
Twister. I'll tell you about it anyway.
Bizarro, porque ele
When you
evitava o
declare
dano, né?
a special
Que
summon,
estranho.
like
Não entendi porque ele
any
não
sort
deu.
of summon, you have to say what
Se eu
you're
tenho algum
summoning
deck,
first
tenho
before you
vários.
actually do it. And if
Muitos.
that new monster that you would summon would be illegal to put on the field due to the effect of
Setou a
Gozen Match,
engage, aí por causa do
you can't
efeito
do
ali,
it, even if you would be
depois ele
getting
vai
rid of the
buscar no
monster
deck.
that's your
Como
current
não tem
attribute you're
engage
allowed to control.
no cemitério,
So
ele pode
the
buscar
reason
uma
it's
outra
good here,
engage.
so you have Kagari up there.
Essa
She's
deck
fire.
eu conheço,
You can only control fire
eu jogo de
monsters.
Sky Striker.
You can't summon another
Beleza.
Kagari with Kagari, so you can't
Agora
switch.
é o cara do
because
sapo.
any
O cara
summon
do
you
sapo já
declare
perdeu
would not
essa.
be a fire monster.
Yeah. That's another reason, though, why pure Sky Striker is really good against cards like Gozen Match and Rivalry, though.
Pô, se ele
because
dá
as soon as they
aquela
bring up,
Gozen
if they
Match
try
no
to Gozen
normal
Match
da
and
Rei,
Rivalry
velho.
there, you can just respond with
Já
the deck
cagava
and
o
hit the other
jogo do
monster.
cara, mano.
Although we don't have a Maxi in this
Ô,
tournament
louco, tá
specifically, that's another
barato,
big role
mano.
player in the OCG format as well.
Tá barato, Bruno. Na verdade, não exatamente,
They
Felipe.
have semi-limited
Mas
actions.
o cenário coreano, o cenário asiático do jogo, que é o OCG, ele é 3 meses adiante do nosso, tá ligado? Então, eles têm uma certa experiência já com o deck, né, vamos dizer assim. Não que o Sky Striker é um deck novo pra gente, mas os caras têm muito mais tempo de experiência com o deck do que, né, a galera.
And those spells will be banished face down, or sorry, just banished when they leave the field.
Multi-roll really reminds me of Spellbook of Judgment quite a lot.
Well, that's exactly why. It counts the number of spells, you get some cards.
Get some free stuff.
Olha,
you just don't get Jargon for even more free.
And it works well with Shizuku, because in the end phase she searches the Sky
o cara
Striker spell that
dropou,
isn't
o cara
the same
falou,
as
ah,
anyone in your
GG,
graveyard,
primeira do Sky
but
Striker.
you can resolve multi-roll first, set all your
beleza.
cards
Sky
that you want to search
Striker,
for, and
primeira
then another
partida.
Yeah, that's what we saw Jung do with Engage.
Ah, mas não
And
tinha
Jewel
como não.
has had
A
enough.
hora que o cara deu a
You can't
Evelyn
win
ali,
this
o cara
one.
do Paleozoic deve
Let's,
ter
get on
começado
to
bem
the
pra
next one.
caralho com o Trap, mas
Seeing that exactly is a big
tomar
reason
uma
why I think
Evelyn dói.
Sky Striker, pure Sky Striker is my pick for the tournament. Its grind game is just insanely powerful once you get multi-roll going or multiple engages going. And we saw, like, obviously the Paleozoic,
Agora eles estão fazendo o side
deck's
deck
totally
ali,
awesome
né?
between like Widow Anchor,
Enquanto
Afterburners.
estão fazendo o
Even if
side
they get a
deck,
couple cards
trocaram ali
back,
pros
you can still
narradores.
sort of grind through it because the extra plus
Pô,
is
mas
off
muito
engage once you
corajoso
get
o
three
cara aí de
spells.
Paleozoic.
Yeah.
Paleofrog no
So,
Mundial.
what have we got in their side
Corajoso
decks
mesmo
here?
dele.
Anything that Walter really has that shows that he's prepared for this matchup?
I mean, he has two main
Acho
deck
que ele
copies of
pensou
Mistake,
nisso porque ele achou que ia
as well
pegar
as
muito gol key,
three
tá ligado?
side deck copies of Mistaken
Se
Arrest.
você for pensar bem, o
Both will
Paleofrog,
prevent
ele
searching,
para
which
bem
is
o gol
exactly
key,
what you need in
mano.
this particular matchup.
Você começa o jogo
Heavy
e
Storm
seta uma
Duster as
porrada
well
de
is great
trap,
against the pure Sky
o gol
Striker
key
deck
não
because they're always
joga,
setting
tá
cards
ligado?
with multi-roll, especially you
Yeah.
can banish them. So that's
Decks
fantastic.
do
in the end
meta,
phase with that.
a
Imperial Order,
maior
same thing with
parte
Evenly Match. Evenly
deles,
Match is great against
principalmente
Sky
não no
Striker.
Mundial.
Match is good against
Mundial
basically
muda
everything.
porque junta as
Ash Blossom, Winter
listas.
Cherry,
Mas
or Ash
aqui
Blossom
pra
and Joy
nós
Spring,
mesmo,
obviously
né, que
good as
estamos
well.
jogando sem
So
ser
I think
Mundial,
he's probably going to be
é
bringing a
Sky
lot of cards, and the
Striker
cards that are going to come out are the
e
things like
puro,
Gozen
ou variação
Match,
com
Rivalry, the
Trickster,
Warlords.
decks que jogam com
I'm
variações
starting
com
to feel,
Nightmare,
just
mas a
even just
maior
after this
parte
first
deles
game,
Gol
that Evenly Match is going to
e
be a big player.
Spiral
We know it's a
e o
huge card
Altergeist.
in general,
O
but
meta
it's
se
going to be a big
consiste
player here at the World
basicamente nesses
Championships.
decks.
It's this weird card that kind of goes in waves.
Basicamente.
Yeah.
One tournament, everybody's playing evenly matched. The next tournament, everybody's like, well, I'm just going to play around evenly matched.
Yeah.
So nobody plays evenly matched or doesn't succeed and doesn't make the top cut. And then the next tournament,
It's back.
I'm going to play evenly matched while nobody's expecting it. And it's back.
Just like Torrential Tribute.
It's just so interesting how Evenly Match is so well positioned against both monster spam strategies, right? Things that are just trying to summon a lot of monsters, and decks that are just trying to do the opposite and just set a bunch of back row. Both
just
of them
counts
just get wiped
cards.
by Evenly Match, yeah.
Just counts cards, doesn't care what.
Passar aquela Ashe na Desires do cara do sapo.
Although he has a lot of main deck.
Eu rachei no Mundial do Dragon do ano passado. O canadense lá, que parecia coreano, mas era canadense. Canadense deu também, acho que não, foi demais. Canadense deu demais, o Rafael Reich jogou assim a Ashe.
I'm mixing up with Flying Sea.
Flying Sea is definitely the But the Retaliating Sea is the one that has 1500 by 1500 when your opponent special summons
já tava bom demais.
Yeah, spell card that special summons, you can summon it to your opponent's side of the field, and when it's destroyed, you get to go search Max C from your deck. But well, I can't remember the exact requirement. It was, you always went and got Max C.
Yeah.
You get an insect.
Nossa, foi demais.
It's like a level 2 or lower Earth insect or something like that. Was that right?
No, it's just 1500 or less attack.
1500 or
less attack. Earth insect, yeah.
But it's the one that when you special summon from a spell, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the key with this is that while it's on the
Caralho, eu
field,
faço live de tarde de coisa aleatória.
So when your opponent plays Goki rematch, essentially, you drop Retaliating Sea, and then they don't get searches anymore, and their stuff goes, and they can't get back with Divine Sword Phoenix Blade, and life gets a little better for you.
Yeah, everything, in fact.
It's just the issue, though, by the time they play rematch, they usually have enough monsters where things aren't that great. But it's one of those cards where we see a lot of Goki players play Eagle Booster, the Sky Striker card, to protect their extract monster, as well as the mid-breaker.
Magical Mid-breaker.
Yeah. Which Retaliating Sea dodges both of those.
It does.
So I think finding hand traps that can still interact even through those. It also dodges Called by the Grave.
That's true.
So yeah, that's probably why it's so good.
That's also true. Yeah. There was this interesting thing. So while we were in the players' green room, essentially, during deck submission, there was a lot of debate going on which of the cards were actually good in the matchups. And I saw people argue. It was Droll and Lockbird was the major argument over whether or not this card was any good. And then Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries came up as one of whether or not it was any good. And I thought, for sure that Reaper and Winter Cherries would be huge at this particular event, but some people really didn't believe it.
Yeah.
It was very interesting to sit in on that particular discussion.
I mean, with so many Alder guys, it sort of makes sense now, but it's one of those things where the format can just sort of get so deep in itself, right? Because you expect Goki to be the most popular strategy.
Yes.
And the deeper you dive into that and the more cards you play against Goki, the weaker your deck is to decks like Altergeist or even pure Sky Striker.
Well, it turned out that Goki is the most popular deck.
Yeah.
But
let's
not in this
round.
round.
Let's head back to the table for the second duel here.
Não é muito grande.
All about the Sky Strikers and Frogs.
Yu-Gi-Oh, querendo ou não, o cenário dele não é tão grande, não.
So, as indicated by our flashing match point symbol, Jung is currently up 1 game.
Ah lá, é sapo mesmo.
A lot better for Duel this time around. That's the guy you want to see.
Sapo mesmo,
Yep, so that's the swap frog.
Cara, foi de sapo mesmo, corajoso, velho.
Fetch one of your frogs from your decks and send it to the graveyard. And the key with swap frog is he can run away over and over.
Sério, ele já tomou uma impermanence no sapo.
Can't run from that, though.
Nem começou jogando. Nem começou.
Yeah, he's going to activate its effect to bounce it back, so that he could just discard another water monster to special summon again, right?
Yeah, which it looks like he's gonna. And it's
agora ele foi
a
esperto.
Duke Frog, which is
not
really much use in the hand there, so he might as well discard it.
Esquema.
Swap Frog getting its effect is far more useful.
E ainda conseguiu fazer o efeito, burlou a impermanence.
Swap Frog is...
Boa.
That's one of those cards that
jogou o Ronin todinho no cemitério.
One card at a time, like one card
Felipe, se fosse 100 mil pessoas, os campeonatos de Yu-Gi-Oh! Quando fosse grandes, não daria só 300 pessoas.
Center Frog's up next.
Quando a gente fala de um negócio que muita gente gosta, Felipe, é que eu ia falar pra você. Tem muito jogador de garganta, tem jogador de Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro, jogador mesmo, cara. É pouco. Principalmente que liga pra competitivo de jogo, entendeu? É bem pouco o público, não é muito não. Carinha que tem garganta pra falar que joga bem, tá ligado?
Oh, oh, what a card.
Yep.
Não, é completamente diferente.
So Death Croaking is the same
CS,
as
você não precisa investir no jogo, né? Você compra o jogo e já era, tá ligado?
Everything your opponent has.
Now, what a day if we saw that in the World Championship. That would sure be impressive, yeah. Well, we've seen Exodia. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
We saw Exodia, we saw Blue Eyes win 1 year.
Blue Eyes was the best
deck.
That was
the best deck.
But we saw Madolche beat Blue Eyes in the first round.
That was my favorite round.
Caralho, os caras foram preparados, hein?
I thought Monarchs were still a good pick,
but side assim na
Alternative Dragons just a little bit too good.
Yeah.
They had the Dragon Duel one.
Os caras veio preparado mesmo pra não deixar ninguém jogar.
Eccentric was put in the wrong zone, essentially, and that cost him.
Yeah.
É porque os caras sabem que é ruim, né, Felipe? E como é um jogo popular, todo mundo vê.
Oh, he hit Ghost Spell for the Ronin Totem.
Todo mundo vê.
Oh.
Is that what's in there?
So Ghost Spell, one of the most recent hand traps to be released. All centers around effects from the graveyard.
Yeah, including
sei lá, hein? Agora se o Sky Striker vier com um set bom de cartas ali, ele joga, senão fudeu.
Bring back that second proc again.
Ele vai sofrer.
It's interesting he chose to leave. Can he not activate Swamp Frog's effect again to
nah.
return back?
No,
it's once per turn.
Yep. Yeah. Multi-roll starts off once again. And activates, yeah, it's area 0.
Setou 1. Efeito do campo.
Got area 0's effect up next. And he hits Horn.
A drones ali. Eu pegaria a drone sem pensar.
That's a
Jogaria
good side deck
drones.
card. So when you think that your opponent is going to put in Ghost Reaper and
Joga
Lunar
drone
Cherries to
ali
try
e
to get
fudeu,
you side in Pot of Inquisitiveness just in case they do. It lets you put 3 of your banished cards back and draw a card.
Yeah, that was one of the best feelings, putting your 3 Dantes back.
That's pretty good.
Pot of Inquisitiveness.
It, I think it really gained popularity with ABC.
Yeah. ABC was just...
Because you were doing it yourself as well.
Enfia essa bosta desse deck cagado no lixo, pelo amor de Deus.
I think it's also going to be popular.
Nem mencione essa porcaria, fazer favor.
With Malicious.
Yeah. I think that card is especially strong in that one because at worst case, you're just putting back your Malicious. Best case, after they Reaper you.
Yep, and get your Resold back.
Yeah.
It has to be 3 monsters though, doesn't it?
3.
So, trying to get 3 monsters in that situation. Oh, well, I guess, yeah, you can Phoenix
Blade. Helps.
Yeah.
You can Phoenix Blade, you're using Malicious.
Yeah.
Passou?
It's fairly easy.
Não. Ele deu o efeito ali. Hã? Ah, Gozen.
Right.
Beleza. Agora o americano jogou bem. Ele não tinha dado a Gozen, ele não parou o combo da Rei. Agora ele deu a Gozen antes, a Rei não pode fazer o extra, tá ligado? Porque é outro elemento. Ele comeu barriga, velho, na outra. Eu estranhei. Oh, mas caralho. Dava Gozen na hora que entrou a Rei, né, velho? Tinha que dar a hora que ela entrou, tá ligado? Ele esperou, tomou dano. Já depois ativou a Gozen. Comeu uma barriga fudida.
With anti-spell
às vezes é nervosismo,
you just have to activate it because
nervosismo, cara,
the position is never going to be much different.
Yeah, well, unless he thought to himself, well, I want to play around any kind of back row removal that Young might have.
Arruma essa mesa coreana, a mesa desse coreano é muito mal organizada. As cartas de cemitério dele ficam jogadas, tá ligado? É aí que você vê maus hábitos de jogador.
Go off very quickly yet.
Well, he just got hit by 2 hand traps. So.
Yeah.
Fez efeito, setou
as we were saying earlier, it really needs to get going quite quickly, and he's.
O cara do sapo ainda tá na vantagem, entre aspas.
And area 0 is the card that turns to the multi-roll in the end phase. So right now, Gozen match means that Jung cannot control anything except dark monsters.
Não, a BC é uma bosta. Se fosse roubado, tinha gente jogando com ele ainda. Os caras tentam salvar esse deck cotoco de caixinha aí, de estrutural, mas não adianta não. Deck que você ativa hangar, dá MST no hangar, o deck para. Nossa, bom deck. Parabéns, bom deck. Nice.
Oh,
Typhoon.
Que a única win condition é fazer Dragon Buster. Parabéns. Tomou bagunça, parou de jogar, né?
I remember that, yeah.
Tomou bagunça, acabou o jogo, né?
Wow.
And that's how you know Joel's on the back foot for sure.
Yeah.
If that goes in match.
Deixou fazer não.
No Paleozoic cards at all.
Having to Solemn Judgment a Typhoon.
Yeah.
It's not got to feel that good.
Well, it's also huge now because he's locked a monster in the main monster zone.
Olha, eu acho que foi valendo a pena, né? Ele gastar Judgment na Typhoon, porque ele precisa daquela Gozen match ali.
My math is right, you should have 3750 after that.
Ah, mas Cosmo era chatão,
that's enough
né,
to buy you 2 turns.
Ainda é, né? Ele ainda tá bom, é porque o tempo avançou e o Cosmo não acompanhou, né? Mas ele levou lista em algumas cartas. O Cosmo era bem chato.
Yeah,
na época dele.
I think maybe the stars are for added effect.
Yeah.
50 stars
Aquelas navonas,
tudo
não, que não podia ser destruída, tá ligado?
I guess actually with areas,
Aquelas
you can just
navona
get rid of your Rave.
De level alto.
Right. If it's
Era
really
foda.
that advantageous
Ainda não sendo suficiente as Navona, o cara cagava Infinity com o deck ainda.
Well.
O cara aí cagava o
They have a little bit of
Infinity ainda
trouble
com o
dealing with
deck.
face-up stuff.
Era foda.
So jamming waves hits a face down.
Yeah.
You would need
Afterburners.
the, Afterburners hits a
with
face-up
3
monster,
yeah.
but you need 3. Yeah, that's right.
Pagou metade da
What
life,
is the
3,750.
attribute of the token?
Negou
It is dark.
a
It's dark.
Typhoon.
Same again. So yeah, even
Nossa,
that's
a
not
mão
gonna
do
be
carinha do sapo saiu uma bosta. Capaz dele perder mesmo.
Striker Ace token.
Pô, tava torcendo pra você,
I
mano.
mean, Jules only got
Nada
9
contra, mas eu
payload
sempre
cards
torço pro
total.
cara que é mais baixo no meta.
I don't know
Sky
how that,
Striker já é
really
forte, eu
works
não
out
preciso
in
torcer
terms
pra
of
ele.
making sure you have at least one.
Deixa o cara,
with.
eu não preciso
Three
torcer pro
players,
Sky
okay,
Striker. Eu
two.
sei que ele é forte, eu
You can
torço
play
pro
one, then
sapo.
you play something else to bring it back.
Something really interesting as well, though, he's playing Gamma, which is like just hand traps in general. I mean, usually the Paleozoic decks, when it was meta, didn't really play that many other monsters. It really cut right down, and then a bunch of traps.
Ah, tomou um dinâmicos. Descarta um, baniu. Descartou, baniu o campo não faz efeito. Descartou um dinâmicos. Nossa, tinha 2 dinâmicos na mão, velho.
So I actually really like Gamma in this particular case since he's so monster light. He's basically only got 3 that he's going to put on the field normally. But being able to get access to, both negating whatever, and if it's on your turn, being able to get Omega and start putting your own banish cards back in the graveyard.
Acabou o jogo aí, velho.
These Paleozoics, they banish themselves.
Se não jogar agora, já dá merda.
It's also huge in the same way we described with other hand traps that it doesn't get hit by Call by the Grave.
Yep.
Baniu o swap, traz o rolinho todinho de volta.
Magical Midbreaker.
Especial summon.
Yep, good stuff.
I just said about the Omega though, that's a
Setou
super
uma, passou.
amazing
Ele
card
fez
to be
isso
able
pra
to
não
get
morrer,
going
velho.
in Paleozoics.
Ele tá sem
It
card.
is.
Ele realmente fez isso pra não morrer.
Alright, so we're resetting the old multi-roll count. And actually, multi-roll could just get rid of that Ray. Ronan Totem, 2,000 defense.
Tá
Kind
difícil
of
o
tough to
jogo,
get
hein?
past.
He's a ninja frog. Ninja frogs that had to get past.
Samurai Frog.
Samurai, okay. Let's go with
Samurai
Samurai. Samurai. Yeah, that's more correct. No one's ever corrected me on that. I always just call it a ninja frog. Let's go with Samurai.
And you got to watch out. Ninja Grandmaster Saizo could be anywhere right now. Could even be on the strategy side. I don't know. I haven't seen
O
him.
todinho que ele segura o jogo ali, né, velho?
We've not seen
Você
the
vê,
Warrior
uma
frog
Gozen
yet,
Match
though.
parou
Frog.
o Sky Striker
He's,
de
he's
jogar,
swap
velho.
frog warrior.
Uma Gozen,
In case you
velho.
wanted.
Yeah, he has a bad track record. Excuse me, a bad track record though. Because
Yes.
Substo got banned.
Is
so
he licensed?
Yes, yeah. He
actually
passed the bar.
licensed?
Yeah, he passed the bar a number of years ago.
Okay. Like, I know he graduated from somewhere, but I don't know where.
Yeah, it was law school. That's why when your opponent wants to attack, he's always got to attack Duke Frog. Because, you gotta get past the lawyers.
You got a lawyer up every time they go to battle.
Yeah, exactly.
Vai, mano, sem Holy
It's
Shark, por favor. Vai ficar fazendo slow
you're
play
right,
no
Stills.
Mundial, mano. Pelo amor de Deus.
Alright, so it looks like they are, I think he's targeted Ray with multi-roll.
Tribute Summon? Ah, não.
And now that he has
Beleza.
two spells,
Yeah.
he's got one spell.
No, just one spell.
He's just gonna get...
Ele destruiu o monstro
But he gets a counter on.
e tirou ali.
Multi-roll.
Ah, manjei. Ele mandou pro cemitério com a multi-role e deu a
Yeah,
coisa,
It seems
né?
better than nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
way you keep him off totally awesome.
Aí ele agora vai
And
acabar
it's, he
setando
knows that he
uma
doesn't have
ainda.
a whole lot of
Ou
frogs
não, né?
to
Yeah.
work with. In fact, I don't think he has any to bring
Jogou
back
bem,
that
jogou
because he
bem.
banished Swap Frog to summon it the first
Seta
time.
ela de novo.
In fact, is Walter top decking right now? I can't see
Passou.
if he's got any cards in hand. I think he is top decking.
Yeah, he is top
he
decking.
is. Which, as
Melhor
as I
passar
said
sem
earlier,
monstro do que, né?
I'm not 100%, but it looks a
Deixar
little
o
bit
cara
like a
jogar na
swap frog.
próxima.
Yeah.
Oh,
That'd be a nice
that's
one.
nice.
I feel like if it was though, he'd be
Just
slamming
slam
it a
on
lot
the table.
faster. Yeah. But maybe
É o que
no,
destrói Spare
that's
Trap,
Olenoides,
beleza.
so that's going to
É o
take out one of the
Olenoides.
back rows first.
he's
before
gonna
he
Olenoides
decides
deu
to
ali.
do
an
it.
afterburner. That's interesting.
Not the multi-roll?
Oh no,
Ah,
this
é a
was the one that.
drone.
Oh no, so the reason he's doing this is because he
Beleza.
probably did draw Swap Frog. He
Fez
wants to get the
token.
one back row that he doesn't know, so that he can totally awesome.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't
Fez
realize
token
that
da
it was set on the
drone,
far left and not
perfeito.
there.
Fez.
Yeah, and there's
Na
Swap
mal
Frog.
do Swap
Yeah.
Frog.
So now he has free reign to totally awesome,
Sobe,
assuming that his
volta,
opponent does not have
trigou
a hand trap to
efeito.
stop it. But Jung is thinking a little bit.
Well, it's best to clear out those back rows. If there's only one unknown left, then it's not really like a guess.
Ah, ele deu o Ogre
oh,
de
that's
novo.
Ghost Ogres,
Beleza.
last card.
That does mean he has a frog now for running Toad.
Yeah, well, he'll have 2 frogs, but it's still not going to work out.
No, not enough for totally awesome, but he can at least try and wall up this turn if he feels he needs to.
Yeah. Rodent Toad, while exceptional, can't be in 2 places at once.
No. If he was a ninja, he could.
Well, that's how you know he's not.
Yeah.
Será que o
Jerome, I'm enlightened.
frog volta, velho? Será que ele consegue voltar?
Spent a lot of time trying to figure out what is ninja and what's not.
Mas ainda não tá impossível, dá pra ele jogar, mano.
So I can tell you that Diablos, Darkest Diablos, is a ninja.
Okay.
Ronin Totem is not a ninja. Sky Striker Ray is a ninja.
Okay. This is all good stuff.
Swap Frog is not a ninja.
No, Swap Frog's not a ninja. He's a spiky frog. That's his name. And he's so colorful. Both these players at this point looking rather stoic. They, I think it's the right mindset to have in these kind of grindy decks. You've got to be able to just be calm and work your way through the problems as they appear.
You have to lock in though, like just clear your mind.
Counter vai embora.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Joel considered there for mind special summoning the Ronin Toad attack mode and clearing the token, but he knows he's going to be able to set back the Hornet drones during the end phase with multi-roll, so probably won't get him very
big trouble if he tried. The drone has defense.
I don't think he has 3 spells in the graveyard.
The drone gets attack points.
Oh,
I thought it was 0-0 and then it gained 15-15.
I think it's 15 defense and gets 15 attack.
Oh, really? Oh, well, then yeah, he definitely can't get past
Só
it.
passou
definitely did that at some point.
Jesus,
whether or not it actually made it to print.
yeah, it did not make it to print.
It did not make it to print.
It is a 0-0 and then it gets 15-15 upon 3 spells, yeah. I was like, that is news to me, my friend.
Yeah, it definitely did that at some point.
Yeah. I trusted you. I trusted you.
That's the thing when you live in many different time zones at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. Cards did things, then they didn't do things, and then it goes back or something entirely new.
Oh, Widow Anchor, the control switch on Widow Anchor was permanent at one point.
Oh.
But the effect negation was not.
Oh. That seems a bit good.
It was a little good, yeah.
Caralho, filho, vocês vão brincar de setar carta, mano?
Negate your stuff. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna use it for myself.
Yep.
Wow.
Oxi. É o que volta banido, né?
Volta
banido pro cemitério.
Linchola.
Lincholia.
Should return a
Aí vai trigar Paleozoic que tá no cemitério.
Any chains to that.
Voltou Paleozoic. Voltou ele pro
so since that
cemitério.
effective Dynamic Mistress was used in the graveyard, when it leaves the field, it will be banished.
Pronto.
But if he's able to get another level 2
Malditos deck controle, Igor.
He's going to be able to summon totally
Malditos
awesome.
deck controles.
Which he
agora o cara vai fazer o famoso, hein?
All right.
Now, here we go. It's the beginning of the end of the beginning.
Totally awesome.
Anyway, he's getting going now.
Agora vem.
He's cooking on
agora
gas.
Vem ele.
Yeah. Back home.
So in this case, I'm feeling like you want to go a little more on the offensive and start clearing out those cards.
Yeah, maybe Opabina.
Não. Se fosse pra ter Exódio, já tava focado no
I feel like Totally Awesome is just so good. It's going to get him more cards, number one, so it'll set him up for more Xyz summons later. It also gives him a way to stop any way that Jung is trying to get back into the game.
Esse sapo é muito engraçado.
Oh, he also has the Afterburners.
Yeah, this is smart, though, not attacking the token. So he's still just locking him down under it.
Yeah. As you said, Robbie, I think this is definitely the right move. He can gain more resources over time by keeping this Totally Awesome here, which is really, he's lacking right now.
Yeah, the big heads-up play Jewel made was just not attacking the token. I think a lot of players there, maybe at a less experienced level, would try to at least deal some damage. Even
Quando
just
você
attack
parou
with
de
the Ronin
jogar,
token,
Igor, que
then
você tava
it'll,
jogando, né, que você acompanhou, você chegou a ver esse
now
sapo
he
já?
for sure gets a few extra cards off Totally Awesome. Then Jung has a unfortunate decision whether or not he wants to switch this guy to attack mode and maybe attacking Totally Awesome.
Ainda vou trazer.
Now he activates the Totally Awesome.
Ele em deck de Hero encheu o saco, sim, era Hero Sapo na época. Era o famoso Hero Frog. Vomitava 2-3 dessa bosta.
Yeah, I also think this is kind of heads up because he knows that Jung had already had issues with dealing with his monsters, and then the Totally Awesome is going to add back an Aqua, right? In addition to the special summon monster, so he can just get back Swap Frog.
Yeah.
So he's still gaining a lot of cards off of it. He doesn't really need to negate anything else if his opponent's still locked under the Sky Striker token.
Yeah. That's the thing with Sky Strikers. Without that Trick Star engine, they don't really have like a big X Factor play to start bringing the damage in. So he doesn't need to keep that negate around for anything.
Ah, o Infinity foi tempão que veio pra nós, Bruno. Infinity ele foi nojo no Cosmo quando ele veio. Foi o primeiro deck que tava usando ele bastante no meta. Era o Cosmo. Agora ele não tem tanta relevância não, mas ele ainda é um monstro bom.
So we said when it leaves the field, it gets banned.
Ele ainda é um monstro
Becoming
bom.
Xyz material does not count as leaving the field, and that
era
is
deck
being
também bem
detached as Xyz
nojentinho
material.
também.
So as this is an Xyz-focused deck, Paleozoic, it's just kind of designed around that loophole.
Yep.
It's originally actually, they first appeared in Korea, did they not?
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that they were Korean World Premiere cards initially. Very exciting. Along with like Flowbot, I think was also released alongside them.
World Carrot Weight Champion was one of them.
Yes,
as well,
which is an all-star in Duel Links, by the way. We never really saw him making the TCG, but that is one of the most powerful monsters in Duel Links when it comes to the Sylvan deck.
What does it do?
Ele passou.
You can discard a plant monster to special summon it, I believe. Is that its effect?
O cara do sapo tá jogando sozinho, tá ligado?
So basically you can put, I think, Rose
Lover,
into the graveyard, and then Rose Lover lets you banish it to special summon a big plant.
Nice.
Yeah.
O cara do Sky Striker travou, não tá conseguindo reagir, tá ligado?
So. I get Rose Lover and Rose Archer. I think is the other one that actually stops traps.
Yeah, Rose Lover just gives you protection per turn.
Então, aí não sei se foi uma boa play dar os sapos pra ele de volta no deck.
Yeah, and he's using the
Eu sei que ele vai dar um draw, mas vira devolver os sapos pro deck só pra ganhar esse draw. Eu achava melhor deixar eles banidos, hein?
He also gets a free up back row slot, which I think is kind of big.
Não vi vantagem, não.
Yeah, draw card, free up a back row slot. It's all good stuff.
Also puts another spell in the graveyard, so hopefully he can get those.
Vai que a play ainda acabou sendo boa. Ué, o coreano não deu draw ali?
He's starting to move now. He's really kind of, you know.
Ah, não, ele deu sim.
He's feeling a little better about himself.
Yeah, you can tell. You can tell by just the way he's moving around.
All right, Totally Awesome is back. One of two Ash Blossoms is gone. It seems increasingly likely that he's finally going to start turning this thing around.
Yeah. So this is interesting. This is exactly what we said about the two kind of very slow decks.
Ah, ele vai deixar o token ali até ele ter o campo bom.
One of them to pull ahead, but do you guys think that now that we're starting
não,
to
mas
see
Ulta nessa época ele era forte mesmo.
Extend that lead,
foi na época que anunciou no CG.
Young's going to be able to
essa época da ele era forte mesmo.
It's hard because Young
has to deal
reclamava
with bem.
He has to deal with the goes
match first. Você não tinha muita coisa pra tirar ele de campo, né,
velho? So I think in that way, because he has the Totally Awesome to protect the goes match, it's going to be hard to force
não,
through.
O cara tá controlando bem o jogo, Igor. O cara do Frog controlou, ele tava com um pouquinho a carta, você notou? Aquela Gozen ali no canto tá ganhando o jogo do Frog, tá ligado?
And I believe he still has it
Aquela
set, right?
Gozen ali que tá ganhando pra ele.
Yeah, far left,
yeah, I think it's on the far left.
Aquela trap.
It's still there.
Yeah, so I think he's just trying to build up to that 3 spell count. Maybe try to bait the Totally Awesome with something like Widow Anchor.
Ah, agora ele destruiu o token? Agora resolveu destruir. Ah, não, resolveu destruir não. O cara do Sky Striker que mandou o token pro cemitério. Acho que agora ele vai jogar. Ele vai tentar jogar, né? Vamos ver.
Yes, I don't think it's going to be that hard for him either, because he already has access to the Afterburners, so really just what he needs is a Widow Anchor.
Yeah.
And I think that the Widow Anchor will also be the 3rd spell.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we already saw Jewel use a Solemn Judgment. However, he could just have another copy of Gozen. Or even a Rivalry, right?
Both are in there.
Yeah. Is the Drones token a machine or a warrior?
It is.
Is it just a warrior?
It's a warrior.
Okay. Well, there's Twin Twisters.
Twin Twister.
Pretty good.
Boa.
Discarding evenly matched.
Tirou sério? Ele tirou as duas setadas. Totally Awesome vai negar.
Is Totally Awesome going to...
oh. Multi-roll.
Is he building a chain in a nice way?
Ah, é. A multi-roll não deixa ele negar, né, mano?
Is that shared right or mistaken?
Nossa, é verdade,
it's
mano.
Because your opponent cannot activate cards or effects and respond to spell cards you activate for the rest of the turn because of multi-roll. So actually, multi-roll just...
Yeah, completely solved that problem that we were saying needed to be solved by Young here.
Que merda. Agora o cara do sapo acho que vai perder.
Now the real question is here, Walter, you know, he's had a few turns to draw some cards. Does he have, you know, a replacement goes in match?
Eu tinha esquecido da multi-roll, velho. Ela não deixa negar, né, mano? Aí, agora fudeu.
I think Jung is from.
Agora já era, agora o cara vai ganhar.
I completely forgot that multi.
Eu torci pelo sapo do fundo da alma, mas agora não vai dar mais. Agora vai ser difícil. Agora o cara vai com tudo, filho.
Yeah, what a big turn of events then here. So Jung is going to be able to start, and here we see for the first time this particular duel.
Ah, não pode a Hayate, né? A Hayate é Cybernet Horizon, não pode usar. Senão o deck estaria mais apelão do que o natural.
Multi-roll, use Shizuku as well.
I don't think he has any.
Na verdade, o Exiton ele baniu, né, nessa época.
Because both of them got banished.
O Exiton foi banido, na verdade.
Afterburners and the drones.
Yeah.
But he should
o ban
have
Exiton
at
foi
least
ban
two, if
muito
not three spells.
não retardado. O Exiton era uma carta forte.
I'm unsure.
Mas, tipo, ninguém esperava, mano. Tipo, ninguém tava reclamando do Exiton, tá ligado? O Exiton era uma carta forte, mas ninguém imaginava que ele ia ser banido. Aí do nada, pá, baniu. Galera ficou puta, velho. Desire.
Oh, that could be true. That could be.
Lá vai tomar outra Ash no Desires ou vai poder dar os draws?
Oh, but if there's a card that could get Jewel back in the game, Desires is a good one.
Yep.
If there's two cards that can get him back in the game, hopefully he'll draw them.
Ele vai dar os dois draws mesmo. Vai, conseguiu.
Ooh, he had a bit of an eyebrow raise on that second card. What could it be? What could it be?
I mean, the eyebrow raise could be anything.
Se o cara do sapo virar, ele é meu herói.
Hey, I got the good stuff, or hey, I forgot to put this in my deck.
Se o cara do sapo virar, ele é meu herói.
That would be bad.
Everything's good there. And he's going to activate multi-roll.
Might be Twin Twisters. I think that would be. Oh. No, it's another copy
Evili.
of match. Looks pretty nice. It's super rare.
It is.
Ah, não, uma Evili não. Aqui pela arte parecia ser a
Interesting thing
Evili.
with the World Championships, you get to see all those different rarities that the OCG have to offer.
Yeah. I especially like a lot of the Korean cards because they have the event packs with like prismatic secret rares.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of them are really cool, like Wind Up Magician, for example, comes prismatic secret rare, or Deep Sea Diva.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it?
Former All-Stars.
Yeah, definitely. Those two. I think it's very interesting that, you know, I personally, I'm very kind of picture-oriented for the cards when I recognize them. And rarity comes into that. If a card's a different rarity, it'll take me an extra second or so to kind of recognize it. I wonder if that's a factor with the players at the World Championships.
Young picks up Jamming Waves. Good for dealing with set, spell, and trap cards. And sometimes monsters if you have enough spells in your graveyard.
Yeah. Something we didn't talk about at the start is the win rates of the players. Obviously, we don't have.
Don't draw the engage.
We have all the win rates for the TCG players, and Walter is actually.
Nossa, outra Gozen! Voltamos a estaca zero, só que agora. Ah, é verdade. Essa magia ela tira só setada, ela não tira face up, né? Ela tira a carta setada.
The search resolves.
Yeah. He is met with Twin Twisters, though.
Outra Twin Twister,
like
mano.
Before,
Pô, ele deu um blefezão bonito, hein?
Main deck copies of Twin Twister and
ah, agora acabou.
He's drawn 4 of them between the
Perdão,
two.
Cara do sapo, eu torci por você, mas não vai dar, não. Agora acabou.
Very fortunate.
Não vai dar.
He's going to be able to play another engage.
Engage is really the one that accelerates you through your.
Filho, nem precisa de outra coisa, só ele pegar engage.
At the beginning of the game, it starts you. At the mid game, it lets you grind out. And at the late game, it
ele vai arrancar os dois e vai bater. Ah, não, ele buscou uma rei pra dar mais dano.
In all parts of the game.
Yeah.
Ele buscou uma rei, beleza. Ele quer dar dano.
I particularly liked the last one in the end game.
Kagari, when she is special summoned, gets you a spell card, Sky Striker spell card, back to your hand. And it's notable that it's when she's special summoned, not necessarily when she's link summoned.
Right.
It makes her work off Ray, but it also makes her work if you special summon her with something else.
Draw. Ah, ele roubou o sapo.
Yeah, there's a Widow Anchor. Lets you take
control.
Roubou
o sapo, beleza.
Yeah. And
normal da rei. Well, se ele bateu os dois direto, acabou.
Scenario.
Acabou?
He's going to go battle phase and try to deal.
Tomou.
Yeah, I think that's enough. Walter is on not a lot of life points.
Será que ele vai parar o último ataque? Acabou mesmo, acabou, GG.
Takes a lot, and he gets it.
Yeah.
Coreano ganhou.
So, our
Sad.
first feature match here on live stream, we see Young Sung-chul win against Walter Jewel.
Yeah, it's
Pô,
kind
o
of a
sapo jogou
mismatch
bem a
when you really think
segunda.
about it, with
É
all
que ele
of the
segurou bem, mas não
spell
deu
and
não.
trap removal that was in that
Não deu
deck.
conta.
Yeah.
It just kept burying him every single time Yule was going to make a comeback. It's like, okay, I finally got this card. Well, all my stuff's gone again. Okay, I got another copy. All my stuff's gone again. is just a rough time to be a Paleozoic frog player in that particular game.
Yeah, in a weird way, the Sky Striker, the monsters are sort of similar to the Paleozoic or the frog monsters in that you're a control deck, but you do have like a proactive way to get going, right? You have your Link monsters versus they have totally awesome Swap Frog. You have like Ray and all these cards. But the big difference is the Paleozoic frog deck needs to rely on traps to really, grind out. Whereas the Sky Striker deck has all these proactive spells.
Yes.
Não,
that's the whole thing.
Não foi uma matchup ruim não, Igor. O sapo, ele é controle também. Só que o sapo, ele é controle na base de trap mesmo. Aquele controle raiz. Esse Sky Striker que ganhou também é um deck controle. Só que ele é mais controle na questão de monstros e seus efeitos, tá ligado? Ele tem muita magia que interage com os monstros também. Então, era questão de quem controlava mais o jogo ali. Por isso que foi um jogo lento, entendeu? Os dois decks eram lentos, vamos dizer assim. Mas o Sky Striker é mais consistente que o Frog, infelizmente. E o Frog se deu mal, mas ele jogou bem. O cara do Frog jogou muito bem. Ele só se deu mal mesmo, não deu mesmo pra ele segurar. A matchup até era boa, mano. Era dois decks de controle ali.
Fairly unfortunate with that first matchup for him.
Well, you got 5 rounds today, right? And we're going to cut to top 8 later this afternoon.
Se eu não me engano, o sapo tá 1 no Japão, né?
Play the top 8
você vê, o cara foi com o deck que o sapo tá 1 lá no Japão e podia usar um sapo só.
So there is going to be a lot of dueling ahead for him. You only really need to win 3, though, right? A lot of people have won only 3 of their matches in the Swiss rounds and then gone on to win the World Championship.
Oh, I was going to say top 8. Got a little eager there. Didn't make it that far. But yeah.
Hey, you're making the top 8.
3-2 is a good enough record, though. It depends heavily on your tiebreakers. But yeah, 3-2 gets you in.
And it empowers you to take some risks that you couldn't take in an 18-round tournament.
Right, yeah.
I think that's a really important point that Jerome just made there. That the way you build a deck for an 18-round YCS is completely different to the way that you build one for like a 10 rounds, 8 rounds World Championships.
Yeah, it's only 8 rounds.
8 rounds gets you there to win the whole thing. Now that's half the number of rounds.
Yeah, if you think about it, it's just, well, I just have to win 3 on day 1 and then 3 on day 2.
Yeah.
And I'm fine. It's just on day 2. You can't lose any.
Yeah. But still the same, similar thing with the top cut in YCS is just it's more back-to-back that you've got to win. Yeah. So the consistency factor of a deck can be way less at the World Championships. And I think that's the thing, you've got to take a bit more risks.
Just higher power level, even if it's not necessarily the most consistent deck.
You got to push that bar up of kind of making your own look. For playing here.
Or just play a completely different game from everybody else, like Ryan, you did last year with the Chainbird deck.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that strategy successful in the past year. There was Frog FTK did that, right? There's been several World Championships where we've seen duels do that and just take their own sort of spin on things. I love the World Championship in that it's a smaller tournament, so you can make a more like meta-defined read. Yeah.
It's harder, though, because you know that everybody else is just really, really good.
Yeah.
And trying to outthink people who are outthinking you at the same time.
It's all those levels.
It's very different.
Like what level you end up on, hoping that, even if you end up on level 2 and there's 10 levels, maybe level 2 beats level 8 and 9, so you're still fine. Yeah.
Yeah. But you were just saying about the top 8, players making the top 8 and maybe being disappointed about their records. But, you're playing, it's not like you're playing the opponents that you might play during the Swiss portion of a YCS. These guys are the players that you will be playing in the finals of the YCS, the finals
every single round
of the WCQ. Yeah, every single round you got to be playing to that caliber, that's tough to do.
It's grueling.
Yeah, because really when you're playing a YCS, you begin that kind of, you begin slowly. You kind of ramp up to that, the extra theory, those extra levels. You step up gradually, but you gotta hit the ground running when you get here. You're playing against these people who, Walter Jewell came second at the NEWCQ.
Igor, por acaso esse cara aí não é o tal do Sapo? Cara que é o Carlos que tem apelido de Sapo? Se for, eu lembro o YCS que ele ganhou de arpia. Ele ganhou o YCS de arpia mesmo, cara. Ele ganhou um YCS, não foi o nacional não, mas ele ganhou um YCS de arpia. Eu acho que é esse Carlos Sapo, não é não?
Round 2 of Dragon Duel.
O cara é da hora, eu já conversei, já não diretamente, mas óbvio, tem uma comunidade de Yu-Gi-Oh! Eu já conversei com ele, o cara é da hora.
Downtime or just not talking? I'm not
we're
sure.
Dueling. It's duel time.
It's duel time. Okay.
Ó, é a molecadinha, mano.
It's like rephrase that. What time is it?
Yeah, what time is it? It's time to duel. It's always time to duel.
Os carinhas só nos Golden Nightmare da vida. O Dragon Duel da molecada. Ó.
Koizumi?
This is
okay, Koizumi, sorry. From Japan against
James English from New Zealand.
Vem os Gol
So we got more Sky Strikers going.
Só pode ser porque só teve um cara na época que ganhou de arpia aqui,
we
mano.
picked this matchup on purpose.
E eu lembro que foi o Sapo.
We really liked what Yuto had to offer.
Eu lembro que foi o Sapo. Então só pode ser ele, o cara é de Goiânia. O Sapo é de Goiânia, realmente.
Yuto is, and he's also using Jurageto in his deck to help facilitate it. Jurageto, if you don't know, it's a dark monster that you can special summon from your hand during the battle phase.
Meu Deus, olha a diferença da molecada. A molecada vai rapidão, tá ligado?
Points to another one of your monsters. It was big in
a molecada mete bronca.
For the 2
olha lá,
days.
E o coreano só, e o japonês só olhando o deck de arrombado. Joga logo, filho da puta. Só faz, tá ligado? Ele deve estar enjoado de ver essa biscate desse deck rodando.
I think we even saw it in Cosmo a little bit over here.
Dá um norma adicional. Vai fazer 2 buscas.
Jurageto.
Mano, o Golki é muito chato.
Yeah,
vai
it was definitely in like one of the top meta decks recently. I just can't. Well,
I think it was played maybe in the OCG Necros deck for
o Dragon Duel Mundial da molecada.
Oh yeah, because which pack did it come out in? It was Battle City.
Ele não fez o norma adicional ainda, hein?
I think OCG got it before we did. So yeah, I don't think it ever worked in the TCG.
Ninguém fez?
It was only in the OCG that actually worked.
Well, it's great here for extra damage during your battle phase.
Mas é padrão, tem que fazer passo a passo mesmo, né? Na verdade, se você, o cara sabe o efeito, você bate a mão na carta e pergunta, você quer que eu explique? Se o cara falar não, você só prossegue, tá ligado? Que nem tá acontecendo com a molecadinha ali. Você vê que a hora que ele coloca a carta, o molequinho aponta assim e faz assim com a cabeça, ele falou, prossegue o jogo. Porque o moleque deve estar enjoado de ver Golki na vida, tá ligado? Então, tipo, nem explica as cartas, só faz.
What makes it good in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Não precisa nem explicar essa merda não,
Which,
só faz.
what Goki does depends on whether you're watching the TV show or playing in real life.
Okay.
The two are completely different things. On TV, it is a beatdown deck, essentially built around a monster that drains the attack points of your opponent's monsters, and then protects itself using all of the cards you get. In real life, it is a true combo deck, where you start with nothing. Well, you start with 2 cards, basically 2 warriors that you could put on the field, and you end with 6 link monsters on the field.
Yeah, it's very similar to Spiral in that it's 2 cards to start rather than
Tem juiz nessa
double
porra?
helix,
Lógico que tem.
and then from there
Ele tá ali do lado deles.
What would you say the key part of the combo is? That the people who are really kind of watching this and saying, well, how's he doing all this stuff? What's the key part to know about this combo?
I think there's 2. Isol's a big one because it gets you to Octa stretch by sending Divine Sword, so you have Divine Sword for all your Nightmare activations, right? In addition to being able to search Rematch, which will then extend your combo. But the big one's Firewall Dragon.
Yes.
Once Firewall Dragon's in play, you get so many free summons that it's really hard not to.
Pô, se eu fosse o japonês ali, eu já tinha ido pra casa, velho. Olha que deck arrombado. Para de cagar bicho, velho.
And all of the Goki monsters, whenever they get
pra casa,
sent to the graveyard, you get a new Goki monster from your
deck.
deck.
Posso pra casa?
And English knows what he's doing. This is one of
Você vai negar minha ida pra casa.
Yes, it absolutely.
Yeah, you check for the hand trap, no hand trap. All right, I'm going.
And he's also given Ibli over to his opponent. So when Ibli is sent to the graveyard from your field, you can summon it to your opponent's field. Why would you want to do that? Because it stops them from special summoning other than link summons.
Yeah, so they have to start with a link one.
And in this matchup in particular, well, as long as they don't have multi-roll or something,
Porra,
get rid of it does keep them with
Fez
a
2
part
sereinhas
of the main
ainda.
monster zone.
Yeah.
Fechou a Link
This is
Zone,
the
filha
double
da
mermaid
puta.
variant of it.
Wow, James is...
Yeah, his hand was very, very good.
Cara, ele quer fazer o field, né? Olha que merda, fi. Ele quer fazer o field, velho.
He likes to add on an extra bit of the combo so that all of his zones are filled, so that he can't stay loaded, so that the extra link
can't be broken. Ô, moleque, para aí de jogar, caralho. Já entendi, mano. Ele vai fazer um link carimbo ainda ali no campo, eu falei? Olha isso. Ele encheu o... Meu Mariel,
well, it doesn't work. You can all, so let's say you have 5.
Posso jogar?
Yeah, you can always
Posso jogar ou só você joga?
Oh, I wonder how he's doing that.
Posso jogar ou só você joga? This game is for 2 players.
Now there are ways to stop them from hitting you with a kaiju, for example.
Could have just been kaiju.
Pior que o molequinho tá de Sky Striker ainda, hein?
Link monsters.
Alguém dá tiro nesse moleque. Os moleques não sabem brincar. O mundial dos moleques é mais doido do que o dos caras.
And then there's also variants that they use topological Gumblar Dragon to just annihilate your opponent's hand before they get a chance to do
Os
it.
caras não sabem brincar, mano. Vai tomar no
Koizumi
cu.
has
Olha isso.
area zeroed into a Juraghetto, and English is looking to find out what it is in
Larga a
his
mão, velho.
native English. Yeah.
Yes. That's a very
Vai
good one
ter que
to read because
revidar
it's basically
muito bem agora,
it's
porque
kind of the
senão se
defining card
fudeu,
of
velho.
your
Olha o
deck.
tanto de carta que tem no campo.
Yeah. It's a linchpin into how his Deobolus will be summoned next to Ray.
And this is just a way to get a lot of damage in, because we were just talking about how it's a
Só
slow
não
deck.
entendi
Yeah.
por que
But you
que
can,
o
really
americanozinho
kind
não
of
deixou no
turbocharge it
final do combo
with stuff like this.
a Fênix ali pra
Yeah,
proteger.
big reason why we see
Acho que ele quis
Pure
ser
Sky Striker be so
fominha, aí ele
successful
não
in the
deixou,
OCG
tá
versus the
ligado? Eu
TCG is
deixava.
that they have
Você tomar
ways
um
to
Dark
enable
Roll ali vai doer
high-speed
geral,
Rich and
velho.
BORA.
Na moral.
Yeah, Boral Sword Dragon,
Você
and so
tomar
they're
um
able
Dark
to just
Roll
sort of
ali
like
vai
crack out
doer
game
geral, mano.
the
Que vai
next turn the
todo
same way
mundo.
Zodiac did, where they would have a turn 1, and the next turn they would go into Gaga Samurai and just beat out the opponent.
Chambara has been kind of it's always, I wouldn't say underrated, but it's
tomou draw
always
lock.
seems to
Ô,
crop up in
moleque
various
chato.
decks, and it's always the thing that is able
Moleque
to
chato, ele
add
ainda
a
deu
bunch of
draw
damage
lock
onto
logo
whatever
depois da
combo they're
busca
running.
ainda.
Yeah, it was the big part of the
Ô,
World Championship
louco.
winning deck last year.
Carinha ali não
Dinosaur.
quer deixar
That was
ninguém jogar
integral to
não,
a lot
velho.
of their OTK combos.
Dá um
So
draw
the
lock
first area zero
ainda.
missed.
Dá um high
He
gag,
then
vai. Dá um high
activated
gag
terraforming
pra eu
for a
rir
second
aqui,
one,
por
and his next
favor,
draw
vai.
Lockbird.
Vai,
That was very
Japinha. Mete
unfortunate.
um high
Doesn't
gag
look
na
too
cara
good
dele.
for Koizumi right now.
Drone Lockbird still stops excavating, right?
Those cards are
Apesar
still
que ele ainda
considered
tem o
in your deck.
Trigate
Yeah,
ali que ele
so it does.
consegue negar, né?
Juraghetto, if you don't know, it's during either player's battle step. You can special summon it, and if you do, you gain 1,000 life. You can only use it once per turn. And then during
Tem
either
aquela
player's turn,
bosta
quick
daquele
effect, you contribute
Trigate
it.
ali que ele
Target
precisa
one of your monsters
baitar
and give
ainda.
it
Depois pra
plus
dar
1,000
uma
attack at
carta
the end of the
interessante.
next turn.
Caralho, mas o moleque só
It's a
empolgou,
lot- it's,
filho. O
it's
moleque só
what-
empolgou e
I think
foi.
I think that was key to the
A cara do Japinha
Easy
mandando o
to
cara continuar a jogar
you
foi
have
a
to look
melhor,
at it, it's gonna eat
velho.
away at me. Why
Ele não
Juraghetto
tinha o
was
que
good.
fazer, tá ligado?
Well, hopefully
Ele só
we'll,
deixou o
get
cara
to see an
jogar.
example of it.
Ah, eu apertava a mão do cara e ia embora. Eu nem
This is a tough
jogava.
spot for Koizumi because you can't even
Ah
activate
lá, ô,
the
posso dar um
Sky
tapa na orelha dele ali?
Striker Area Zero's effect. It's a
Perguntando.
card effect to add cards to his hand.
Yeah.
And there's not actually a random element to it. That's one of the key distinctions on whether or not you can activate something while you're under that effect, or like
Ai,
how
vai
Stardust
tomar
Dragon
no
works.
cu,
Yeah.
Stardust Dragon doesn't work
Que
against Sniper
deck
Hunter
de
because
filha
there's an
da
actual
puta.
random element in rolling dice.
You may
Esse
not
gol que é
destroy
foda,
something
velho.
if you
Pior
don't
que é
roll for it.
capaz de ganhar o Mundial aí desse deck.
I think we're getting various translations here.
Yeah, they may in fact be asking about that very thing. Is if I can't add any cards to my hand, can I activate this at all?
Yeah, I mean James is sitting pretty well here with the number
Que o
of,
carinha ali é um americano.
Monsters
Americano
he's
não, ele é
managed to get
australiano,
out
né?
so
Olha
quickly.
lá. Agora que eu vi
The
ali
main
na
effect of this,
bandeirinha.
though, is to add cards
Cara,
to
ali
the
tá
hand,
pouco se
not to
fudendo,
send
meu
the card
irmão.
to the
É,
graveyard.
caguei pra você, fio. Olha o meu campo aqui. Olha esse field.
Alright,
Inglês.
we're
É
explaining this
asiático,
to
não
the
viu nada.
duelists currently.
Ah lá, falei?
Looks
Foram
like
pro outro jogo, olha lá.
Coisa
O carinha nem
muito
jogou. O japonês falou,
When your opponent
deixa
has 7
quieto.
monsters on the first
Vamos
turn,
pro
it's a little hard.
segundo.
It's a bit
Não, ele
difficult,
desistiu,
especially
o
when all of yours get
japonês.
minus 2,000
Japonês
from the two Nightmare
quitou.
Mermaids.
Agora vamos pro segundo jogo.
That's brutal.
Yeah, that,
Opening.
that was a brutal
Brutal?
opening.
Foi
I don't think I saw
ridículo.
anyone do the
Os-
double
Os
night,
caras
double mermaid
comentaram,
combo
os
when we did
comentaristas,
coverage
isso
for
foi
the
brutal.
NWC.
No,
Brutal
I
não,
didn't see
foi
it either.
ridículo.
I think that the Goki combos are getting more
Ele fez o
interesting,
combo de
stronger, too.
fechar a Link Zone
Really
ali,
are,
absurdo.
So I
Fechar
believe I have the
extra
records
zone.
here. These two are both
Vai
1-0
tomar no cu,
in
filho.
the Dragon Duel right now, playing on table 2.
Ô, louco.
So they are 3 points in. There are 4 rounds total.
Vou no
of Swiss in
banheiro,
the
pera
Dragon
aí.
Duel, followed by the
Já
top
já
8.
eu volto.
We will play those 4 Swiss rounds and the top 8 round today. And then the semifinals and the finals will be tomorrow.
Yep.
So we're going to bring you more of those rounds throughout the day.
Awesome.
James has got to be feeling pretty good at this point.
Yeah.
He's already won one round, and then now being able to just
Everything went perfect.
shoot out the Goki combo, through whatever hand traps did
No,
or
there
didn't
weren't any.
have.
There's nothing
Then
there.
that's always a great feeling.
Yeah, it really can't go too much better than that, although perhaps discarding your opponent's hand might be. And I note that he does have his Gumlar Dragon in the side deck. I do wonder why they side deck that sometimes.
So it's typically for the kaijus and sphere modes because you don't expect them until game 2.
Yeah.
And so it's better to summon that monster than some of the other Link monsters in your initial combo because Tri-Gate Wizard is just going to get answered by a sphere mode. So you just want the chance of discarding it. And they aren't main decking those cards, so that's why you bring it in post-board.
That's brutal.
I assume the same thing for evenly match maybe.
O cara só entupiu o campo com o máximo que pôde de bicho.
I guess
no, yeah, it's definitely not evenly matched because Tri-Gate can still stop
evenly
match.
It's just the
kaiju mode, specifically sphere mode.
Yeah, when you don't know what you're facing, it's better to be able to negate anything, whereas Gunblar, you kind of know ahead of time that there's going to be stuff to negate, but Gunblar is able to get rid of those well ahead of time.
Pior que Kaiju funciona. Pior que Kaiju funciona aí. Só que se ele fizer a Link Marker certinha, nem Kaiju funciona, isso que dói. Tem que ser esfera de Ra mesmo. Nossa, a esfera de Ra é boa contra Gol Kick. O cara entope o campo de bicho e tributa 3, filho. Top. Essa bola com 0-0 de ataque.
2 of, which is a little interesting. Normally, if you have a third Nightmare at 2, it's Phoenix. But Cerberus is a pretty good one as well.
It's definitely not bad. That Nightmare, Cerberus, and Phoenix are quite powerful. They do everything you want. They get rid of cards and protect your cards.
Now, BORA Dragon is something that when I was looking through the NAWCQ deck lists, there seemed to be a bit of a disagreement on whether to play BORA Dragon at all.
Você vê, o Mundial dos moleques é mais da hora do que o do evento principal.
I will not say who, but a number of people that might be participating in this tournament did not.
Wow.
Os moleques não sabem brincar.
I'm a huge fan of BORA Dragon. I think it's one of the strongest cards, one of the strongest Link monsters.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think it's just the Goki game plan. A lot of the times you don't really need it.
Yeah.
Like, your deck is so combo-centric that if you go off with your combo and you're able to end your board, they don't have the hand traps, you're going to win without BORA Dragon. I think that's the big deciding factor.
Essentially ignore any game where you might...
Exactly, yeah, because you're choosing, you're dedicating your strategy so much to combo and beating their hand traps and things like that. That's why we've seen a lot of them even take out more interaction to have more, extenders or things to, push through, right? Like, oh, I'd rather have the Terror Top and then Takatan board in my deck than maybe Eagle Booster even.
Yeah,
and things like that.
That's the thing that gets me with Goki, though. This is why I don't like playing Goki at all, and I probably just wouldn't ever bring it to a tournament.
Yeah,
is as soon as you get it up against another Goki deck, well, now you have 2 decks that don't play against each other at all.
Você tá falando mesa?
You stick to your own plan. You don't actually do anything. You don't rely on what your opponent's doing.
The opponent's board.
You can't break the opponent's board. You can't interact with them meaningfully. You can't really get an edge.
Eu acho que você está falando de mesa, né? É óbvio, eu imaginei, porque eu falei, caralho, esse sistema não se aplica a eletrônico, né? Enfim, olha, mais fácil eu não sei, mas tem Conquest. Conquest é um sistema muito simples. Mas questão de interativo, que tipo, não é tanta jogada de dado, tá ligado? Pra você bater, não é só ficar em dungeon. É que tem bastante interação e você foca em literalmente interpretar um personagem. Chama Storyteller. Ou no caso, tirando a questão de jogar dados, ter os RPs, que é literalmente só interpretação, tá ligado? Que aí nem tem muita jogada de dado, é realmente mais só a interpretação também.
I think is the most of anybody ever.
Mas o mais assim interativo que eu me lembro é Storyteller.
So Shunsuke lost in the finals in Italy.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then he was invited back the next year.
Yes, yeah.
And then he won that one and the next one.
Okay, so he did play in 4. Yeah, so right now he's tied
with Gali, yeah.
Though Tsujimura, our resident world champion, he noted in his paper that he wanted to go on 20 consecutive World Championship trips. And what is aspirate? They asked him, where do you think you're going to be in 20 years? And he said, hopefully playing in my 20th consecutive World Championship.
Vamos ver, vai. Vamos ver o Japinha virar.
We've seen a lot of different flavors of Gokis.
Vamos torcer pra ele virar,
There's one Japanese list that I'm very excited about that I hope we get to feature later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it is a completely different twist than what everyone else is doing. Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah. Not going to spoil too much. Maybe a sneak peek, though.
So, as you said, Engage is always a great start and a middle and an end to a Sky Striker deck's repertoire of cards, and here we see Yuto starting with it.
Yep. He's going to add Ray.
Ray goes to the hand. And taking a look at his side deck in there. He's got the inspector borders.
Fez normal. Oh, ele usa o prancha.
I usually see those like using against Altergeist though.
Yeah.
He's actually played one just now.
Oh, but he did. There you go.
That's right there. It's because they only have one thing they can do anything about it. They have to draw by Scorpio.
Olha esse cara
Their deck doesn't go. They can't even headbat over it because that's a monster.
Caralho.
Inspector Bottle looks fantastic.
Nunca
and he
imaginei,
looks like he's
ó.
actually in the frames,
Filho da
which is
puta.
pretty cool.
Maybe he could get like instant fusion to get a fusion monster on the field. And then play a monster
vai ter que
effect like
fazer de
that.
outro jeito o jogo dele.
Yeah.
It's just it's a really nasty card, Inspector Border. Can't play it if you have any other monsters on the
Da
field.
hora.
And you can only activate a number
Cara
of
vem
monster
nervoso,
effects up to
filho.
the
Meteu
number
o
of
prancha
special
de
monster
primeiro
card
turno
types on the
agora.
field. Those being Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, Pendulum, Link.
Não vou fazer porra nenhuma.
Oh, and he has the
He's
Scorpio.
got the right Scorpio. He only has one in his deck, but he drew it.
Não, Cyberpunk é complicadinho. O Cyberpunk é uma variação de outros sistemas. Mas aí da questão que eu tô falando, o Deco, baixa ele e vê, mano. Baixa sobre o sistema e vê, velho. Porque às vezes ele não é questão do RPG, por exemplo, tem gente que tem complicações pra mestrar RPG simples. E tem gente que é fácil pra mestrar D&D, que é super complexo, tá ligado? Então depende da pessoa. Tem pessoas que gostam de mestrar sistemas específicos. Eu depois de um tempo não gosto muito de usar sistema pronto, eu gosto de criar os meus próprios, tá ligado? Porque eu acho mais interessante. Ou eu adapto sistemas que já existem para sistemas mais simples, né?
Still, he's got rid of a considerable threat.
Yes.
From Koizumi with no effort.
I actually don't think it's that good though. Still, because it's still just trading one for. It's still only a +1 against the Sky Striker deck, where you're not trying to fight really card advantage, right? You're trying to just go off before they have a chance to really set up and control the game. So I think that this still favors Koizumi.
No, I agree.
Menos mal, né?
It's just now he actually needs something right now.
Yeah. He still needs interaction for the combo next turn, but
yeah. But Yuto did.
Pô, que maneira legal de falar com seus amigos, mas nessa questão, você pode, mais fácil você chegar neles e perguntar que temática que vocês querem jogar, mano. Pergunta lá, vocês querem alguma temática, tipo, vocês querem algum anime, alguma coisa medieval, sei lá, entendeu? E por isso você procura um sistema, mano. Porque se os caras já não é muito inteligentes, você vai dar um sistema que eles não conhecem, é pior ainda, saca?
Oh, it could be called by the grave.
Oh, that would make sense. That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, he could just take out that ray.
Yeah, not the best right now, but it's still just something maybe.
Beleza. Ele vai tirar o bicho. Ah, não vai dar pra tirar de baixo.
And gets an afterburner.
That's the beauty of Yu-Gi-Oh! Though, when you put a face down in front of your opponent, they've suddenly got to start thinking about all these different things. What is it? What could it be? Could it be this? And then as they're playing, they're kind of taking out different things that they think it could be.
This is
Olha, muita gente gosta. Eu já não sou muito fã, não.
So,
3D
for example, if he had it right here, if you had the Juraghetto Diabolos, you could just win the game. Straight up.
1800.
So you would attack with Juraghetto for 17.
Eu preferi o D&D mesmo. 3D é uma variação meio zoado, tá ligado? Ele é simples, mas ele é zoado, tá ligado?
Would that be enough for?
Mas pra quem nunca jogou, talvez ele seja uma boa, mas sei lá, eu que já mestrei tanto 3D
so that's 47. So then the Sky Striker would need to be 33. That's a lot, though.
That's a lot. Well, she gets plus 1,000, so she's 25 at first.
Yeah, and then she's 100 for each
sei
spell.
Lá,
is that right? Right. So you have 8, so it's a little hard there.
É eles
right
que
there, it
jogar,
allows you to
tá
crack out a
ligado?
ton of damage. So it basically gives you the ability to kill them on the second turn if you've done damage once.
Dá pra fazer literalmente de qualquer coisa RPG, depende da criatividade do mestre.
That's still a lot of damage.
It is. And it leaves, you know, a really big monster on the field that can't do a whole lot of damage.
I guess if they play instant
Depende
fusion,
também dos jogadores, né? Ah, ele fez o maldito que ganha no tempo. O bicho maldito que ganha no tempo.
I'm not sure anybody's played that outside of, or actually in Japan in ever.
Yeah, they're a big fan of the Magic Midbreaker.
Como é que chama?
Yes. Yeah, more than the Aqua Dolphin.
Como é que chama? Nossa.
So this is basically used to fish out for hand trap.
Ixi, velho, deu branco o nome do sistema agora. Tava na ponta da língua.
So you discard
Esse
a
sistema você consegue adaptar pra tudo.
Eu
falaria D&D, porque D&D também é adaptável, mas D&D é complexo, então não vira. Então uma ficha de frente e verso, os caras não vai querer preencher uma ficha de frente e verso.
Is it specifically awkward?
Se fudeu, James Inglês.
Yeah, it's a monster you control.
Is it monster you control?
Yeah. So I think you can actually take higher, but it's rare that you have the second monster. But Aqua Dolphin is at that sweet spot of 600 that takes out all the hand traps. Right.
Well, they all have 0.
Caraca, como é que chama?
There's one that it doesn't take out.
Mano, eu lembro que quando eu fui começar ainda, o Renato me indicou esse sistema.
Oh no, it's Gamma. It doesn't be Gamma, but like you want to Gamma the Aqua Dolphin all the time, I think. Actually, no, you probably just don't.
É brasileiro ainda o sistema. O sistema é brasileiro, velho, na moral. Só não vou lembrar qual que é.
Factor 00.
Não, é brasileiro mesmo. Pathfinder ainda é traduzido. É uma adaptação do D&D.
X0.
Mano, não vou lembrar. Não vou lembrar agora, infelizmente. Vou ter que pesquisar depois. Olha que bosta, eu odeio quando minha cabeça faz isso comigo. É que eu não uso esse sistema, mas eu já vi muita gente mestrando com ele. Dá pra você fazer também de qualquer coisa. Adaptável e tudo, tá ligado? Calma aí, gente, eu vou dar uma olhada aqui. Eu vou cobrir aqui, senão vocês vão ver mais o meu PC. Rapidão.
He was quite excited about that.
3D não é brasileiro? Originalmente não. Originalmente não.
He does the Sonic Sonic.
Ele tem a adaptação brasileira, mas ele não é um sistema brasileiro.
If he's Jaden's monster and he has to beat himself as Astro Phoenix, like that's gotta wear on a man.
Yeah.
Living Fossil comes out next for James English. Revives one of your level 4 lowers.
Oh, gets hit by another call by the grave, though. That's a nice trade.
It's Octastretch, too. Does he have another? Yes, he does have another.
Daemon, porra. Daemon, velho. Tormenta também é legal. Daemon chama. Esse sistema. Pesquisa dele. Esse sistema é simples. Dá pra fazer quase qualquer coisa com ele. Isso, sabia, velho.
And also, whatever you take out of your deck with Isolde can't be summoned that turn.
Daemon é bom. Daemon é legal.
Octastretch in the combo.
E Daemon é BR. Daemon é um sistema BR.
Foi
BRs que fizeram.
I love the artwork for Living Fossil.
I was just about to say the same thing.
Yeah, it's definitely like a traditional anime card style artwork.
It's Dark City, isn't it?
It's another. Yeah, it kind of looks like it. I'm not certain it's quite Dark City. But it's another one of those GX cards.
Yeah.
Caralho, tava tentando lembrar e não ia lembrar nem fudendo que era Daemon, velho. Eu ia lembrar porque eu fui achar aqui.
To hit that ray.
Collectively, we were able to do the process of figuring out what that back row was, based on when he used it.
This is why we're not playing. It takes 3 of us to do the processing power of one regular duelist.
Yep.
Respond to something, or
you know, he's already banished the ray.
Maybe he's clarifying.
Sim,
oh, he has 3 spells. He can.
É porque Daemon é um sistema que foi feito por brasileiros para você tentar adaptar quase qualquer temática para ele. Ele ainda te fala. Você quer fazer uma ficha de anime, normalmente, que é ambientação de herói? Você faz desse jeito. Você quer fazer um RPG baseado mais em época medieval, tipo um D&D? Faz desse jeito. Ele mostra pra você as várias ambientações que você tem como fazer, entendeu? Ainda assim, Cavaleiros do Zodíaco, eu vi uma variação de ficha de RPG usado no D&D. Tanto que quando eu fiz um RPG de D&D em aberto, que nem eu tô fazendo atualmente, né? Com a galera ainda que tinha no canal, o meu sobrinho fez um Cavaleiro do Zodíaco. Quando ele jogou comigo. Ele fez um. E ficou bom, cara. Ficou forte o personagem dele.
The other big interaction with that type of card was it was a marksman. Was the one that could only destroy set.
Yeah,
and then if it was changed,
has to stay set.
Because heavy infantry was face up.
Sky Striker engage drops next.
So if it would say destroy that target.
Destroy that target.
James English.
That makes sense.
Os caras zoando o nome do cara que é James English. James Inglês! Eu tocava o ACDC se eu ganhasse só de zóio, o Igor.
Yeah, well, it gets a draw off engage too, so.
Olha o Igor.
I think now 3 times in a duel.
James Inglês, agora o bicho pegou, filho.
You should probably win.
Agora você se cuida, que agora você não ganha, não. Provavelmente não vai ganhar. Nossa, tá entupido de magia no cemitério.
Counting it up. See how many spells are there to get the extra attack points for Kagari.
Vai a 4.000 de vida? Acho que vai a 4.000 certinho ali.
What's James really looking for here to get back in this?
Well, I haven't seen any. Have you seen any Widow Anchors yet? I don't believe I saw them, but we don't have a look at his hand there. Generally speaking, I think James just... I mean, if he sided in the evenly matched, he could try to wipe him out one turn and then combo off next turn.
Yeah. I think his ideal 3 cards to come back for this are Twin Twisters, discarding a monster, destroying both back row, and then soul charging back 2 warriors.
Yeah,
I think that is the dream scenario. Because those back rows are still going to be some form of interaction. Even if they're not Widow Anchor, it's got to be something.
He's used 2 called. I believe Yudo has 2 called by the grave already. It could be Shared Ride. Shared Ride would be a little rough if he hit that.
Yeah. Oh, Koizumi is actually main decking 2 copies of Royal Decree and evenly matched. This is another Sky Striker deck that's just built to beat Alter Guys. Yeah. I love it. There's Instant Fusion. So that's going to be 1 warrior, but...
Quem vai trazer? Ah, é aquele gatinho, né? Pra começar. Gatinho não, é a guerreirinha lá, né?
Maybe.
Pra tentar fazer Isolda.
I didn't quite catch it.
I don't think he played any spells.
Daí mesmo.
So the last spell he played was Engage to get multi-roll.
Okay, and then he just activated multi-roll in the past.
Ah, sério? Pra fazer um tributo summon?
Bear Hug.
Que bizarro. A mão dele já tá muito ruim. Tá tentando aqui, velho. Tá indo bem, mano, o Japinha agora.
James English is sporting a 70% win ratio as well. Really good.
Interesting.
Really, really good.
They are
discussing
the number of spells. It's the attack points once again. Then we got good old Goki Bear Hug, which it's kind of a weird monster, even by Goki standards.
Porra, Japinha, você não conhece Goki, caralho?
Like they help you
o Japinha, tu dá carta de Goki e pede pra ler, vai tomar no cu, Japinha. Nunca jogou contra esse deck nojento do top campo?
Halves the attack of the monster, rather it becomes half of its original attack. Which adds a little bit of a layer of complication in this particular scenario.
Ah, vai roubar ele.
It'll go to 750, but will not reapply.
Não, eu quero ele sim, dá essa bosta aí. Roubou.
It's always quite an interesting thing when I was judging about cards that freeze the attack versus cards that just reduce or change the attack.
The key to look for in the text of those is becomes. The attack becomes this.
Pelo efeito da multi-roll.
As opposed to this card gains this or loses that.
Na volta o James English.
So he's gonna set an after.
Na volta o James English. Ainda vai tomar no cu, hein? O James Inglês. Elias, o Lightning ainda é viável ou não dá certo no formato atual? Lightning? Você tá falando Utopia? O S39? Ele é bom, mano.
They just do so much. That's the thing.
O S39 é bom. Mas sei lá, mano.
Another look at Bear Hug to see whether or not that's permanent. No, it's the end of the turn.
Não, é só até o final do turno, fião. Se fosse permanente, filho, chorava.
That's plenty of damage.
It is.
GG daquele ali, não. Não.
They're just checking the math right there.
Tomou.
15 plus some number of spell cards.
Olha lá o juiz lá no fundo ali, ó.
Yeah, even without any spell cards, it's still...
Yeah, even without... It's 39 minimum.
Yeah, there we go. So,
GG, 1-1.
Gonna bring it back to 1-1.
1-1. Vamos ver agora, né? Aí no outro jogo, o James Inglês começa e entope a mesa de bicho de novo, tá ligado?
I'm pretty excited for that one.
Yeah.
So we gotta rearrange things just a little bit for this last game. Though James is probably gonna go first, is he not?
Yeah.
So I don't know that he's gonna have... He's going to keep any of his
partida meio engasgada essa, foi meio difícil ainda pro carinha do Sky Striker ali.
But at the same time, it just depends on what he plans to bring in, which there's not going to be too much that he actually wants, right? Like, Twin Twisters going first is okay, I guess.
Não, mas é o bom do S39
evenly matched,
justamente
infinite impermanence, not the best. So it
você
might just be
pode
swapping out
passar
some
por
cards for
cima de
coin thrusters,
monstros que tem ataque muito
so like you're
alto,
probably just going to end
porque
up
às
keeping
vezes
in a
você
couple
fica
like Drone Locker,
preocupado
which
com
is so good
monstros
against
que
pure
tem
Sky Striker.
efeito,
That card is
tá ligado?
insanely powerful.
Mas
Same
você
thing with
não
Ash
tem uma
Blossom, just bringing up a
preparação
key
pra
card.
passar bichos que tem
And then
ataque
I don't
muito
think
alto
there's
no
he
deck.
doesn't really
E o
play any
S39
other
é bom,
hand
porque ele
traps,
fica
He's
com
got
5.000 de
Reaper
ataque
and Winter Cherries, but if
não
you're
tem
going
um monstro
first,
no Yu-Gi-Oh! Que
they're
tem
never going to have
5k
one
de
monster.
Oh yeah,
ataque.
yeah.
You
Well,
can't
it's
play
in the
it.
side deck though, right?
Assim,
Like as in
fácil
cards
de
just take
colocar
out.
no
He might
campo,
just keep it
tá ligado?
his
Um
clean
pesadelo
40
que a
even,
maioria
you know what I
passava
mean?
mal na
I
época,
figured he
mas
was
o
original
deck ainda não era tão
Yeah,
forte,
I actually
era o
don't
Caos
think
Max
that
do
he
Blue
should be
Eyes,
side
né?
decking
Porque tem
anything.
4k
Maybe
de
Dumbledore if
ataque
he
e não
wants to play
morre
that
por
card,
efeito
but
da maioria
that's
das
probably about it.
coisas.
Nothing from the
Então a
main deck
galera
at
tinha
least.
certo problema pra tirar ele. Só que
So
aí
he
o que
really
você
wants to
faz?
just
Caga um
maximize that
S39 e
capability
mata
of doing
ele.
that huge combo that we saw in the first
Resolvido
game.
o problema, que você faz isso
I
com
think it's
2 level
interesting that
4.
Koizumi has
ligado?
another copy of
Então,
Afterburners.
S39 ainda é viável sim, mas não no meta.
Yeah.
No
That's it,
meta
they're
ele não é
fine,
muito
just
usado
one.
não,
I
porque
kinda like having the extra
o meta
removal
não
there.
tá mais focado
One
em
of the
rank
key
4,
features
tá
for
ligado?
Sky Striker
Você
for
não
me
tá
is
mais
that
focado em
you
rank
just keep 2 for
com
1
os
your opponent to
decks.
death with those
Decks
removal
que
cards
ainda joga
over and
com
over again.
Exceed, beleza. Mas nos
He's
decks
got
mais
even
novos
more.
não tem
He's got Dark Hole
espaço.
in there.
Yeah.
Haven't seen that a
Então,
lot.
galera
So
não usa
Regeki
mais.
is not allowed at this tournament, and
No.
it is not allowed in the OCG territories in Asia and Japan.
Mas jogou bem Japinha
Dark Hole's
agora, hein?
at one,
Vamos ver se ele
so
consegue ganhar,
still
né?
play
Porque
that.
tá empatado.
Yeah, just like Happy's Feather
Você
Duster is
consegue
also
ganhar,
not
mas
allowed.
jogou bem.
That's at 1 in the
Jogou mal
OCG.
não.
Now
Yeah,
that's an interesting
forbidden
card
TCG.
right there.
What's that?
Magical Contract Door. I actually have to look
Magical
that up. I do
Contractor.
not remember what
Tá
that
cheio
card
de
does.
link.
Yeah.
Is that
Isso.
the one that lets you
É
add a level
porque
8 dark?
o...
Is it a,
That's what I
Os,
thought.
a
Yeah,
nova
so maybe for
invocação,
deals.
Igor, que é a que
That
o
could
cara
be
ali
give your opponent a spell
do...
card.
Que é a que o cara
That was
dali,
spicy
né,
tech. That
o
was used
James
mainly
inglês,
for grinder
fez
gold.
que ele lotou o campo, é um novo tipo de
Right.
invocação do Extra Deck que chama
Little
Link,
grinder
né?
gold.
Yeah.
É a invocação do
A
extra
little bit more
dessa
impactful in the
geração.
OCG because they had a Security Dragon and Akashic Magician at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So they were able to just summon Grinder
3D
Gold.
e T,
Well, absurd number of times
ainda
in
que
the same
você
goal, but-
consiga adaptar as
Well, Jerome,
coisas,
they
eu
will look
acho
at the magical
bem
contracts.
mesmo.
We're seeing
Sei
here
lá,
that James
ele
did
te dá,
indeed
ele é
decide to
meio
go first.
quebrado
Tell us what
assim,
the
né?
magical
Mas
contract
é legal,
So
tipo,
it,
pra
you add a spell
iniciar,
card
tá
from your
ligado,
hand to your
essa coisa.
opponents to get a level
Depois que você
7 or 8 Dark
acostuma,
Monster from your deck to your hand.
tanto que eu nunca vi muito mais
Give them a
mesa de
spell card?
3D
Yeah,
e
you
T
give them a
depois de
spell
um
card.
tempo, tá
It's
ligado?
interesting.
It's from the movie, actually. It's
Oh,
one
really?
of Yugi's cards from Dark Side of Dimensions.
Can you remember
Sim,
what spell
sim.
card he gave to the Cubic?
Não, é ainda no Extra Deck. Ainda no Extra Deck.
Don't, but
Sim.
when these things come up, it's
No
all,
início
almost
do
always Monster
jogo,
Reborn.
que o Link lançou
you
ano
might have given it to
passado,
Kaiba.
tá ligado?
Oh,
No
yeah.
início
played
do
with
jogo,
Kaiba.
quando começou Link, ele ainda não era tão
I remember
viável,
the,
a galera ainda
the
jogava
epic
com
duel
outras
where Marek was
coisas,
taking over Joey
saca?
and he, like,
Não
handed
usava
him
muito
a red eyes
Link,
back
não.
or something like that. That was
Mas
really cool
o...
moment, handing
Agora
other cards
é
over. Anyway, as we
literalmente...
can see James starting
Sim,
with
o Naruto é um
this
negócio que dá pra você encaixar
Yeah,
em
the one
muito
sacrifice
sistema.
that Koizumi has made
Muito
by main
sistema,
decking
fácil,
copies of
fácil.
Jericho and
Yeah.
Porque
Darksteel is
o
slumming a little bit on
3D
hand
e T
traps.
tem umas questões de
Because
regras
a
que
lot of the hand
ele
traps
é
are
meio
traditionally like
quebradinho.
not too good against Alter Guys, not too good in
Ele
pure
não
Sky
tem
Striker
muito
mirror, so he's trying to
sentido.
edge
Yeah.
a little in that direction.
Então, pra
He has Ghost
iniciantes
Ogre
que
for
não tem
Easel,
muita
but
exploração do
we'll see if
sistema,
that's
não
enough.
tem tanto problema, mas se
James,
você vai pra um
feel like
pouquinho mais
typically you're
avançado,
supposed to actually Ghost Ogre in Snow
fica
Red
meio
with the Firewall
cagadinho
Dragon, right?
algumas
Because it's still
coisas.
pretty easy for them to push through.
As long as you can, as long as they don't have enough.
Oh yeah,
enough
we talked
triggers
about
to
this
bury
before.
it.
Yeah, right.
At some point, you might just have to use it against the quick effect to add cards back to your hand,
Yeah, yeah,
which is still not ideal because they still have cards back in their hand.
yeah. It's also how good
Olha,
your hand is, right? If your
não
hand still isn't
começou
good enough
igual,
to, after
Bruno,
they use Firewall
porque
Dragon,
o
Ghost Ogre, and you
Japinha
can't
já
deal
deu
with
uma
their
hand
board, then you
trap e
probably just
tirou a
want it on
Isolda
Isolde
do
anyway.
cara. O cara já não conseguiu combar do jeito
But
que ele queria.
He's got the headbat
Mas ele
there.
pode
Yeah, headbat
conseguir
allows
chegar
him to
longe
keep pushing
ainda. Dá
through.
pra ele tentar fazer boa
Yeah.
parte do
So it
combo
all comes
ainda.
down to
Mas ele não
if
vai
James
lotar a
is able
mesa que
to
nem ele fez da outra vez,
continue
não.
his combo
Não
here.
vai dar mais.
Looks like I mean, he wouldn't have gone in with the headbat if he.
Não, é
Well,
só
he
uma
gets something
atualização
else,
do
man.
sistema,
so,
Deku.
yeah,
Sabe D&D que vai evoluindo? 3.5, 4.0, 5.0. Daemon é a mesma coisa. Mas o Daemon muda pouca coisa. Baixa o sistema que está mais atualizado, que é o melhor, provavelmente.
Anything else
Did he already have rematch in his hand? Yep, so he didn't even need to search it.
Wow.
D&D não, D&D muda coisa pra caralho, o que a galera gosta mesmo é o 3.5. É o sistema mais justo, né? Vamos dizer assim.
Divine Sword.
Divine Sword, Phoenix Blade. One of my favorite cards, in fact. It was in one of my favorite decks.
Vai cagar a bicha ainda.
Goes in Nightmare Mermaid.
You can activate that effect, discard that. Divine Sword. Yeah, Divine Sword is just known for doing unfair things with discard effects, right?
Yep.
Oh, and he had Ghost Ogre and Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom takes out Nightmare Mermaid. Doesn't take her out, but
stops her from summoning the Iblis.
Stops that.
which might actually halt English in his tracks here, but we'll see exactly. I think he's considering summoning another Nightmare monster. Or maybe Goblin, actually. Goblin's probably... Oh, no, it's going to be Phoenix.
Vai fazer proteção, então.
And what's next after that, then? He's just co-linking them so that they are immune to
Falou, Felipe.
card effects.
Tanto faz, mano.
Os
da biblioteca élfica são os mesmos.
Phoenix is
Eu acho que são os mesmos. Você vai precisar só do livro básico de começo, Deco. Os outros é mais pra auxiliar você.
Koizumi's going to start with Jamming Waves on the set card. Twin Twisters.
Sim, tá 1 a 1. Quem perdeu já era.
Oh, Engage gets Ash Blossomed.
Não, na verdade, que quem perdeu já era. Mas quem perder, perde a partida, entendeu? O Mundial é feito baseado em top, tá ligado? Você vai jogando contra vários oponentes e quem tiver mais pontuação sobe pro top 8, tá ligado?
But when that doesn't work, the other person, their job is to volley
back. Mas já entra pra uma pequena pausa, provavelmente.
That's generally how I see Goki versus other decks. You're just trying to hit that ball as hard as you possibly can in the corner. The other person's trying to run there and get it back. And now we see James going into beatdown mode here.
Yep, taking a page from the enemy.
Pode baixar de qualquer dos dois, Deku. Os livros são os mesmos. Você só vai precisar do básico no máximo que você tá começando. Você não vai precisar baixar todos. É que nem D&D. Goki versus Sky Striker, isso, pelota, exatamente.
Simplified game state. If you ever yet to see one, and it just comes down to who's got the most damage as fast as possible. And right now, James English is looking pretty good.
Dragon Duel, Dan. O Dragon Duel é literalmente uma categoria de Yu-Gi-Oh! Voltada para menores de 12 anos. 12 anos para baixo. É uma categoria para criançada.
He's got immunity to battle right now.
He's got another back row. Wonder what that is.
Algo que tá bem apelãozinho nesse round, viu? Eu acho que ele vai ganhar também. Queria não, mas acho que ele vai ganhar. O James inglês ali tá indo bem. Ele não fez aquele campo escroto, mas ele fez um campo bom.
Thought you saw an Ash Blossom in there?
In his hand, I thought I did, yes.
Yeah,
I think you might be right. I just caught a glimpse.
Yeah, same. So I think he's got Ash Blossom, one other monster, and then another card that I couldn't identify quickly enough. That's an evenly matched. That's the most important one, in fact.
Sem dó, hein?
Wow. Yeah, if there's a card that can get him back in.
Sem guspe.
That's the start.
Evenly match tudo ali.
Yep.
We'll use the Phoenix.
Does he have Ray?
Mas olha o nome do cara, James English. A mãe dele é tão criativa no sobrenome.
It might be Diabolos.
Or Juraghetto.
James English. James inglês, velho.
Phoenix is 19 or 16?
19.
Yeah, not quite.
He draws.
Speedroid Terror Top.
Terror Top.
Filho da puta, ainda dá um Terror Top.
This drives me crazy. The one Terror Top, one to Kedenborg.
Yeah, it's just because Instant Fusion. Instant Fusion allows you to enable Takatomborg, and then once we see Cybernetic Horizon become legal, Hayate then it enables Takatomborg as well. Might see a bit of resurgence. The Speedroid engine actually got a little bit better in Japan. They unrestricted.
Yeah, they put it at 2.
Yeah,
semi-limited.
Yeah, Terror Top to 2. So we see it a lot in Goki now.
Ih, Japinha tá quase perdendo.
Terror Top is just one of those cards that is, it's so good.
Yeah.
And just in everything.
Então nem australiano ele
né? It just does everything you want to. I remember even seeing in Necros because you'd search the 1-star tuner and make Herald of the Arclight off of one card.
Deixa eles jogar Yu-Gi-Oh! Ih, Japinha, acho que você perdeu.
You can actually see our spy on the ground, Matthew Bell,
vai
in the background
não, filho. Vai reagir
James
ainda.
English player cam. You can see him running around,
Vamos ver.
gathering information.
Acho que não.
Afterburners takes out a Nightmare. And now we got something for... Yeah, that is Juraghetto.
Juraghetto again, yep. James is going to ask for an additional translation of that. So not that I blame him.
And Kozumi gets some life points back.
Ah, Juraghetto, mano.
Which could matter.
Porra, Juraghetto, cara. Corajoso.
Pretty short on those at the moment, so.
Juraghetto.
If that other card is Diablosis, then...
Oh, he needs another monster.
Yeah.
You can't tribute it without another monster on the field.
Beleza, vai lá, Gil. Mais 15 minutinhos.
Was that
Deixa a batera lá.
So the last card was Juraghetto, not Diabolos.
Johnny English. Johnny English é foda.
Jiraiya is also an awesome looking card.
Só mudou que não é Johnny, é James, né?
Yeah, it's not like anime, it's like classic Yu-Gi-Oh! More.
Tá perto.
It was in the first anime, wasn't it, Jiraiya? It was one of Bakura's monsters.
Was it Bakura? I'm pretty sure it was Merrick, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was one of the two. It was in that duel.
It was Marek or Bakura, yeah.
Because isn't this also... This is a Duels Pack Battle City. I'm pretty sure this is a Merrick card.
I knew it was either Marek or Bakura.
It's strange because his deck is so different between his duel with Bakura and his duel with Mai.
Yeah.
It's like, this is the deck I was thinking of playing before the tournament, and this is the deck I actually
A mesma de todo o campeonato, Pelota. Acabou o tempo, acabou o jogo.
Which is strange,
mas no Mundial raramente acaba o tempo, os caras vai normal.
I think it was the other way around, so he plays Bakura first after he loses to Yugi.
Yeah. Oh, so that's a good choice then. He made a better choice in the actual tournament. Those last-minute changes, guys, you know, Marek did it, just saying.
It's called playtesting.
Reinforcement army. Excuse me, reinforcement army off the block. Oh, into Super X Scorpio. He doesn't even need to...
Ixi, o moleque tá vindo meio
that's exactly enough.
A mão dele.
It's 18 over,
Ixi,
18
acabou
over 17
certinho
plus 23.
GG.
That's
acabou, é
yeah,
isso
you
mesmo.
can see a smile cracking up.
GG.
And there's the handshake. Well, James English going up to 2-0, so pretty close.
Uma partida de Yu-Gi-Oh! Dada nas regras pra durar 40 minutos.
That's my favorite the way that Yu-Gi-Oh! Goes. One game goes to one guy fairly easily, second game to the other guy, and then that last game, just, you know, real fight for it. Always feels quite good.
Yeah, the real challenge with Goki, if you're going to pilot in a big tournament, is knowing what to do when you're probably
What your plan B is, your plan C, depending on what hand traps and where they interact, your best way to move forward.
Yeah, I always found that the Zodiac was the same. Actually, no, it wasn't Zodiac, it was Spiral. Spiral was always... You know, it was very similar to, you know, your tennis analogy. Big wrecking balls kind of hitting each other, and the best players were the ones who knew how to pick up the pieces and use those small resources they had left to actually bring out the game.
Yeah, I think Spiral was even a little bit different, though, because all the hand traps were so good against Spiral that usually they were just stopped every time and they went to beat down mode with Goki. I think you can actually push through a lot of them more often, especially against cards like Rematch.
Yeah,
Rematch is huge.
Tough and super agent. They're the kinds of caliber of cards that Goki just doesn't have.
Yeah, I mean, Spiral eventually evolved into the going second deck, right? Where it was just trying to summon tough and going second. That way you're already better against hand traps. You already go up in cards.
Primeiro jogo, 5 minutos, ele ganhou, filho. Fez aquela mesa.
That's a really good
Tinha nem o que fazer
way to look
mais,
at, I think, the comparison between Spiral and Goki.
That's
really good. Yeah, I think Goki's all of they don't have any like really exceptional cards like Super Agent was. I think
Spiral Resort
as well.
Plan.
Yeah,
like the Spiral deck is just kind of a big pile of all stars compared to we're a bunch of big monsters that search things when we go to the graveyard.
Yeah, exactly. They have, I think, all of the Goki cards have a really key mechanic that is, don't get me wrong, it's really good.
It's really strong.
It's really strong. But the Spiral cards all did something different that were all exceptional in their own way.
Yeah, well, I think that's an interesting way to describe it. How I would say is that it's because the Goki cards allow you to they're all about staying in the game, right? Like when you think they're out, they swap out, they tap in, and it's because when they go into that beatdown mode, as long as one guy is destroyed, they're still just one card away from combo every time, right? Because every single one of their monsters can search another piece, and then they never need to shift gears in that way. So while Spiral like excelled in doing that, Goki doesn't really need to switch gears.
Yeah,
it's always just one card away from comboing.
Yeah.
So how far away are we from seeing one duelist create the ultimate life form and actually just bring Goki Spiral?
I don't think I think we're a summon sorceress away, maybe.
Summon sorceress away.
That's usually the linchpin, I think, when it comes to introducing Spiral into any deck.
She's got to stay away from this tournament. Not allowed here.
If there's spandex under the Super Agent suit, then that would be very impressive.
Summon sorceress all the time. Oh no!
All right, well that was it for our round, our 2 rounds here, and we're going to be right back with Duel Links, I think.
All right, we'll tag the boys in.
Yeah, just like the Gokis.
Aê, agora deu uma pausa. Parece que agora já foi 2 rounds, né, do Mundial, do Suíço, e o próximo é de Duel Links. Então, vou meter a bagaça aqui, vou mutar até eles voltarem, e vamos ficar aqui de buenas até eles voltarem. Eita porra, fiz cagada aqui. Pronto. Ô louco. Será X5 em 40 minutos? Ah, é, porque o X5 dá pra você pular, né? Verdade, o X5 dá pra você pular os boss, né? Pensar por esse lado. Isso é verdade. Tem toda essa questão. A live eu não vi, mas eu vi as partidas depois, mano. Infelizmente eu não pude ver a live. Mas eu vi as partidas depois. Ficou da hora, mano. Agora, galera, eu vou dar uma mutada aqui. Pelo menos na live, né? Vou dar uma mutada aqui. Eu vou estar respondendo vocês pelo teclado. A hora que voltar a partida ali, a gente volta, beleza? Vou fazer uns breguete aqui agora. Até quando não começar a próxima partida. Mas vou estar de olho nos comentários, hein? Então, é isso aí.